The echo of a landslide slap meets an unyielding palm. A demon king's hidden merits wait in the cold silence. This is the moment you learn what stillness truly costs. Enter the inner circle and hear the verdict. Chapter 376. Chapter 376 Bodhi Pill Recipe. Chapter 376. Chapter 376 Bodhi Pill Recipe. Despite Xue Wanchong's slap being like a landslide, Jiang Fan's palm remained completely still. His enormous hand was firmly blocked. This scene caused the pupils of the people present to constrict. Xue Wanchong's slap, in the entire nine-sect land, only a handful of people of the same generation could block it. Jiang Fan actually blocked it easily. Zai Liushu secretly smacked his lips. This guy, he's gotten even stronger again. When he fought against the red-scaled evil flood dragon, Jiang Fan struggled a bit. Now, with just a wave of his hand, he could easily confront a second-layer core formation physique expert. What made his eyelids twitch even more was that Jiang Fan hadn't used any spiritual power. He was using just his physique. Wang Yunj sucked in a breath of cold air. He is that strong. He questioned himself. Using all his strength, he still couldn't block Xue Wanchong's slap. At the very least, he would end up with all his bones broken. But Jiang Fan, with just a lift of his hand, caught it. He had been seeking revenge on Jiang Fan, thinking that in this past month, he had turned his shame into motivation and improved his strength a lot. Only now he realized it was a good thing he hadn't made a move. Otherwise, he would have ended up even more humiliated. The disciples in the room were all stunned. This is too fake, right? Clashing against Xue Wanchong in terms of physique and not being at a disadvantage. He can actually compete with the bloodline of an ancient giant. Lu Ziyunian was also greatly surprised. In just 1 month, Jiang Fan's strength had undergone a qualitative transformation. He couldn't help but glance at the calm Qin Wangchuan. No wonder she didn't make a move. She knew long ago that Jiang Fan's physique was astonishing and didn't need assistance. However, he had no idea that Qin Wangchuan was also shocked at this moment. No, shouldn't this guy be using the 9 poison true scripture? Why is he still hiding such a terrifying physique? She was a bit confused. In the sect, wasn't it said that Jiang Fan's physique was barely enough to defeat Xue Wanchong, who was at the first layer of core formation? What's going on now? He can easily spar with a second-layer core formation physique expert. Others were astonished. Xue Wanchong was even more astonished, with a look of fierce surprise flashing in his angry eyes. Although he didn't use his full strength, Jiang Fan looked like he was using his full strength. Impossible. In the nine-sect land, apart from his big senior brother, could someone actually match him in physique? Feeling countless eyes of doubt and shock on him, he felt a bit unable to keep his face. He immediately growled, "Stop pretending!" His palm suddenly exerted force. To his surprise, he still couldn't move the opponent's palm. Even more, Jiang Fan looked over with a calm expression. "Is that all?" Then, with a flick of his hand, he shook off Xue Wanchong's palm. Everyone was taken aback. Jiang Fan actually had the upper hand, although it could have been due to Xue Wanchong not being on guard. But it was still astonishing. Xue Wanchong was furious. The physique he was so proud of was actually caught up by a small disciple of the Green Cloud sect. He was about to activate the bloodline of the ancient giant and have a proper talk with Jiang Fan. "Hey, visitors should be treated as guests. Let's talk things over." Lu Ziyunian interrupted him in time. The Green Cloud sect's Supreme Elder was watching from the side. If Xue Wanchong really activated the bloodline of the ancient giant and injured Jiang Fan, how could the other party stand by and do nothing? Xue Wanchong didn't know this, mistakenly thinking that Lu Ziyunian was favoring Jiang Fan. He hummed heavily. "On Elder Lu's face, I will spare your life for now. Once I've dealt with the 7-colored poison mist, I will make you pay." Jiang Fan showed slight regret. He wanted to see what was so remarkable about Xue Wanchong when forced to the extreme, exposing the bloodline of the ancient giant. Unfortunately, Lu Ziyunian's protection stopped him out of concern. Lu Ziyunian cast an expectant look at Xue Wanchong's giant body and stroked his beard, saying, "The bloodline of the ancient giant has the extraordinary ability of being invulnerable and imperishable by water and fire. It is also naturally immune to severe toxins. Inviting him was definitely the right decision." "Young Master Xue, tell me, what do you want?" Xue Wanchong crossed his arms, proudly saying, "First, the 7-colored mysterious ice will belong to me. Second, I heard your sect has a Bodhi Pill recipe. I want that too." The Bodhi Pill recipe. Jiang Fan's heart trembled slightly. The last time he heard about the Bodhi Pill was from the mouth of the Black Mirror evil spirit. It was said to be an essential item for breaking through to the nascent soul after reaching the 9th layer of core formation. It could enhance physique strength and resist the heavenly tribulation. He was very interested in the Bodhi Pill. Unfortunately, without the pill recipe, even with blood Bodhi and alchemy skills, he couldn't make one. Lu Ziyunian's eyes flashed with a keen light. The 7-colored mysterious ice can be discussed. But don't even think about the Bodhi Pill recipe. Supreme Sect Master is keeping it. If your giant sect wants it, at least your sect master has to personally negotiate. You're just a disciple. Stay out of it. In other words, the Bodhi Pill recipe was too precious. Xue Wanchong, being insignificant, had no right to covet it. Then, can you convey my wish that the two sects can negotiate on this matter? Xue Wanchong proposed another condition. Obviously, he didn't expect the other side to give it. Delivering the giant sect's intention on this trip would suffice. Lu Ziyunian's expression softened. I can help you convey the message. Then, he looked at Zai Liushu and Jiang Fan and said, since you both want this piece of mutated 7-colored mysterious ice, then I will reluctantly part with it. Whoever has the ability to dig up the 7-colored mysterious ice can take it away. Zai Liushu was slightly excited. This made things more motivating. Jiang Fan's eyes flashed slightly. Only one piece of 7-colored mysterious ice, which meant they had to rely on their own skills. Lu Ziyunian stood up and said, if the three of you are ready, follow me to the mine. On the surface, he remained calm, but in his heart, he was anxious. The 7-colored poison mist had been spreading and corroding many 7-colored ores. These ores had become toxic, turned into waste ore, and were no longer useful. Currently, the 7-colored poison mist had only infiltrated the surface ores. They just needed to dig them up, and it wouldn't be a big deal. If they delayed any further and the 7-colored poison mist penetrated the mine, the Supreme Sect's mining area would be ruined. The Supreme Sect had 30% of their crystal stones coming from the sale of 7-colored ores. If they could no longer mine, the consequences would be unbearable for anyone. So, time was of the essence. He immediately led the group to the eastern part of the 7-colored mine. This area produced the most 7-colored ores, with an output 3 times that of the Green Cloud Sect. There was no other way. The 7-colored mine was within the Supreme Sect's territory. The other 8 sects managed to carve out a piece of the land in the mine, thanks to a past battle where each sect's Supreme Elders joined forces to fight against the Supreme Sect's Supreme Elders. The Supreme Sect had already made the biggest concessions by giving up the prime spots. The visible area was covered by a thick layer of 7-colored mist. It crawled like a living thing, occasionally wriggling. It seemed somewhat eerie. Jiang Fan was slightly surprised. Is all this 7-colored poison mist? Lu Ziyunian, with a somber expression, nodded seriously. Upon hearing this, Zai Liushu's complexion changed. Elder Lu, didn't you say that the poison mist was still thin? Looking at it now, the poison mist is so thick that you can't see a thing just 1 foot away. I've never seen such intense poison mist in my life. Asking us to enter, isn't that sending us to our deaths? Chapter 377. Chapter 377 Poison Mist Mutation. Chapter 377. Chapter 377 Poison Mist Mutation. Zai Liushu's face was filled with fear. The poison mist before him gave off an intensely dangerous feeling. He no longer had absolute confidence in being able to dig out the 7-colored mysterious ice within it. Xue Wanchong's eyes also grew heavy as he remarked disdainfully, Elder Lu, the current poison mist is unbearable, even for my ancient giant bloodline. This is far from what you mentioned in your message. Jiang Fan gazed at the constantly wriggling poison mist. He, too, showed some signs of fear. Even though he carried the 9 poison true scripture, staying too long in such dense mist was risky. However, digging out the 7-colored mysterious ice shouldn't be too difficult. Lu Ziyunian shook his head. I, as an elder of the Supreme Sect, would not deceive you 2 juniors. When I sent the message to you both, the poison mist was indeed much thinner. But the poison mist within that piece of 7-colored mysterious ice kept seeping out, and within just 3 days it has become this thick. He was deeply worried. Further delays could cause the poison mist to become unbearably dense. If it seeped underground, this mining area would be utterly ruined. What do you all think? Are you willing to give it a try? Give me an answer, Lu Ziyunian urged. Zai Liushu hesitated for a moment before saying, Since we are here, we should definitely give it a try. Xue Wanchong snorted. I also want to test the limits of my bloodline and see how long I can endure. Seeing the two he valued most agree, Lu Ziyunian felt a sense of relief. Finally, he turned to Jiang Fan as a formality. And you? To him, Jiang Fan's participation was non-essential. With the other two, success seemed guaranteed. Jiang Fan stroked his chin and said, "Of course I will go. However, I have two questions. First, with such dense poison mist, we won't be able to see more than a zhang ahead. How will we determine our direction and find the seven-colored mysterious ice? Secondly, if we fail, is there a fallback plan to help us quickly escape from the mist and avoid mishaps?" These two questions made Zai Liushu secretly alert. Jiang Fan indeed thought things through meticulously. The poison mist ahead, though easy to enter, would be challenging to exit. He nearly overlooked these two fatal issues. Lu Ziyunian glanced at Jiang Fan with a surprised look. Though he didn't particularly like this young man, his meticulous approach clearly set him apart from his peers. He slowly nodded. "Since I invited you here, I naturally have to ensure your safety." He immediately took out 3 palm-sized compasses. The needles on them emitted a cold aura, radiating 7 colors. These are pointers made from 7-colored mysterious ice. The ice has a unique property of attracting each other, so the direction the needle points to is where the 7-colored mysterious ice is located. Just follow the needles, and you won't go wrong. It turns out there were preparations in place. The direction issue was solved. Next was the safety issue. How to escape if they failed to dig out the 7-colored mysterious ice? Lu Ziyunian retrieved a bundle of shiny black threads from his sleeve and said, "This is soft silk made from the outer heaven meteorite. It's tough, resistant to fire and water, and even immune to severe poison corrosion. When you enter the poison mist, tie one end around your waist. When you want to return, follow the thread back." Oh, Xue Wanchong's eyes sparkled. "Such a thing exists. It somewhat resembles the heavenly mountain silk of the Desire's sect master." He picked up a piece and pulled it firmly with both hands. His fingers bled slightly from the effort, yet the thread did not break. His eyes shone with even more amazement. Indeed, a remarkable item. Lu Ziyunian felt a sense of pride. Of course, although this black iron soft silk is not as good as the heavenly mountain silk of the Desire's sect master, it is one of the only 2 soft silks on the 9-sect land and has countless uses. With this, you can enter and exit safely. With these assurances, Zai Liushu and Xue Wanchong felt completely at ease. The issues of direction and safety were resolved. Now it depended on who had the ability to withstand the 7-colored poison mist and successfully dig out the 7-colored mysterious ice. Jiang Fan crossed his arms and asked, "Are we going down together or one at a time?" Zai Liushu and Xue Wanchong realized this issue too. If they went together and simultaneously dug out the 7-colored mysterious ice, who would it belong to? They couldn't possibly divide it evenly among the 3, right? If they went alone, who would go first and who last? The latter would naturally be at a disadvantage, because the first might have already taken the 7-colored mysterious ice. This, Lu Ziyunian was also stumped. Initially, the plan was for Zai Liushu to be invited first. If he succeeded, that would be ideal. If not, they would wait for Xue Wanchong to come. Unexpectedly, both arrived almost at the same time. And with Jiang Fan added, it became a tricky issue to decide the order of entry among the 3. Each wanted to go first, and none wanted to be last. In this difficult situation, Wang Yunj suggested, "Master, to be fair, why don't we draw lots? The order of entry will be determined by luck, and no one can complain." Though not a perfect solution, it seemed the only feasible one. "What do you think?" Lu Ziyunian looked at the 3. The 3 exchanged glances, with none willing to back down. But aside from relying on luck, there seemed to be no better method. Seeing them reach a consensus, Lu Ziyunian picked up 3 sticks of varying lengths. He held them tightly in his fist, revealing only the tops of the sticks. "The longest goes first, and so on." "Me first." Xue Wanchong pushed ahead of Zai Liushu and grabbed a stick. Zai Liushu rubbed his sore arm and quickly took another stick. Jiang Fan, left with no choice, took the last stick at a leisurely pace. He said calmly, "When it comes to luck, the order of choosing doesn't matter. Why rush?" But when the 3 revealed their sticks, Jiang Fan's face turned green as he muttered, "What rotten luck is this?" The stick in his hand was the shortest. The second shortest went to Xue Wanchong. The longest belonged to Zai Liushu. Qin Wangchuan couldn't help but laugh out loud. Having been with Jiang Fan for so long, it was her first time seeing him so defeated. She jested, "Will you stay calm next time? Ha ha ha." Jiang Fan glared at her. "The one who laughs last is the winner." They might not even be able to get the seven-colored mysterious ice. Zai Liushu, waving his stick triumphantly, said, "Brother Zhu, Brother Jiang, excuse me for going first." He then tied one end of the black iron soft silk around his waist, leaping into the dense poison mist. The seven-colored poison mist, like a living creature, immediately wriggled and attacked him. The onlookers outside could roughly determine Zai Liushu's position by observing the movement of the mist. They watched him run toward the center of the mist. Lu Ziyunyan's eyes brightened. As expected of the disciple most skilled in the poison path, he moves freely within the mist, unaffected. He glanced at his bandaged index finger. As an elder, he had ventured into the mist using his spiritual power and had unfortunately had his finger corroded. Zai Liushu could move about as if nothing was amiss, indicating his profound mastery of the poison path was indeed remarkable. But suddenly Zai Liushu, who was running fast, seemed to sense something. He abruptly halted and quickly fled back. Vaguely, he could be heard crying out in terror, "Pull me up quickly! Something is wrong with this poison mist." Chapter 378. Chapter 378 Fog Demon. Chapter 378. Chapter 378 Fog Demon. Lu Ziyunyan's expression changed slightly. Zai Liushu was the chief of the Desires sect. If something happened to him here, how could he explain it to the Desires sect? Upon hearing the cry for help, he grabbed the black iron soft silk without hesitation. He gave a firm pull. With a ripping sound, Zai Liushu was yanked from the poison mist, flying out and landing heavily where they were. Lu Ziyunyan instinctively tried to catch him, but Zai Liushu urgently shouted, "Don't touch me, stay away!" Lu Ziyunyan immediately noticed that Zai Liushu's body was covered densely with seven-colored poison mist, like ants crawling all over him. The strands clung tightly to his body. This made Lu Ziyunyan's scalp tingle. Having suffered severe losses before, he quickly leapt aside, also shouting, "Everyone, move away!" With a rustling sound, the crowd rapidly retreated. Jiang Fan reacted the fastest. Even before Zai Liushu flew out of the poison mist, he was already on guard. He instantly used his movement technique, grabbing Xue Wanchong and relocating dozens of yards away in the blink of an eye. With a thud, Zai Liushu fell heavily to the ground. The seven-colored poison mist attached to his body splashed in all directions. Several disciples were caught off guard, with the poison mist sprinkling on them. Their clothes immediately corroded, exposing their skin. "Ah!" Screams and cries echoed from all around. Some alert disciples quickly tore off their clothes to avoid skin contact. The slower ones had their skin eroded by the poison mist, which then attacked their flesh. Necessitated, the nearby unaffected disciples decisively drew their swords to cut away the rotting flesh, saving their comrades' lives. Lu Ziyunyan was no exception, but he reacted quickly, tearing off his blue robe. Xue Wanchong, with his large frame exposed and splashed by several strands of the seven-colored poison mist, remained calm. With a slight shake, a faint trace of purple blood coursed through his body. He expelled the poison mist from his body. Leaving only several burn marks, he was otherwise unscathed. In just a moment, the scene turned chaotic. With a grave expression, Lu Ziyunyan asked, "What's going on? Why did you suddenly return?" Gulping down several bottles of unknown liquid, the seven-colored poison mist seared Zai Liushu's skin like fire meeting an ice wall, rapidly extinguishing. Only a few dark red marks remained on his otherwise flawless skin. Wiping the traces of blood from his mouth caused by the fall, Zai Liushu, still in shock, said, "These poison mists are not naturally occurring." It was then the others noticed the burns on Zai Liushu's face and heart area, relatively fewer on other parts of his body. What did this imply? It showed that these poison mists were deliberately attacking his vital points. The head, the heart. Naturally occurring seven-colored poison mist wouldn't act this way. Clearly, someone was controlling the poison mist. With a darkened expression, Zai Liushu glared into the poison mist. "If I hadn't called for help decisively, I might have perished in there." Everyone was stricken with awe. The concentrated scars on his face and chest attested to the truth of his words. Lu Ziyunyan's face darkened, shouting into the poison mist, "Who dares to cause trouble on the Supreme Sect's territory?" "Show yourself," he was puzzled. Why did the poison mist only spread in the mining area of the Supreme Sect, not drifting elsewhere at all? As expected, someone was controlling it from the shadows, thinking the other wouldn't respond. Unexpectedly, the poison mist churned violently, condensing into two mocking eyes. Even more surprising, the density of the poison mist was rapidly increasing. This was a blatant provocation. "Who are you?" Lu Ziyunian roared angrily. Jiang Fan, staring at the poison mist thoughtfully, said, "It may not be a person." Their backs chilled at this. If not human, then what could it be? Jiang Fan, surveying the poison mist, said, "Someone capable of manipulating such poison mist without being affected must at least be a poison pathmaster. But there's no such figure in the nine-sect land." This was reasonable. It couldn't be from the outer domain, causing trouble without reason in the Supreme Sect's territory, could it? No grudges or vendettas, no reason at all. Lu Ziyunian, eyes widened in curiosity. If not a person, then what? In fact, an answer was forming in the minds of everyone present. They were just not certain. Jiang Fan, touching his chin, said, "There's a demon beast called a fog demon. Born transparent, it can manipulate poison mist to harm others. Based on Chief Zai's description, the one attacking him is highly likely to be a fog demon." A fog demon. Lu Ziyunian muttered the name, and then he noticed. The previously provocative seven-colored poison mist gradually calmed down, as if wary. His eyes lit up. "You really hit the mark. It's indeed a fog demon." "Does this demon have any weaknesses?" Jiang Fan replied. "Fire." Lu Ziyunian chuckled. "Coincidentally, this elder brought plenty of fire attribute talismans." From his sleeve, he drew out a thick stack of talismans. "All kinds, but all for fire attacks. A mere fog demon dares to cause chaos on the Supreme Sect's land. Go!" Waving his hand, all the talismans were activated. They flew out in a barrage, striking every corner of the poison mist. "Ayow!" A sudden scream came from a corner of the poison mist. Visible to the naked eye, a ragged clump of poison mist was set aflame, writhing and wailing. Before long, as the flames consumed it, it collapsed, burned to ashes. Lu Ziyunian breathed a sigh of relief. "Challenging me? Seeking death?" Eliminating the culprit, Lu Ziyunian was in high spirits, giving Jiang Fan a rare smile. "I owe you this time. I'll request the sect to send a gift to the Green Cloud sect." Jiang Fan remained indifferent. Looking towards the misty poison mist area, he said, "If you really want to thank me, let me go first. With the fog demon gone, there shouldn't be much danger left." Xue Wanchong snorted through his nostrils. "It's not your turn yet." He tied one end of the black iron soft silk around his waist, showing a determined look, and leapt into the poison mist. His gigantic form, like an iron tower, pushing the seven-colored poison mist aside, forcing open a visible path. The poison mist that clung to him was effortlessly shaken off by his ancient giant bloodline. Leaving only painful burn marks, it couldn't harm him. Zai Liushu, full of resentment, said, "Damn, he got a huge advantage. If not for that fog demon, the seven-colored mysterious ice would be mine by now." Lu Ziyunian stroked his beard, admiring. "He's about to find the seven-colored mysterious ice. Success is assured this time." Wang Yunj, full of jealousy, said, "It's worthy of the ancient giant bloodline, handling poison with such ease. That seven-colored mysterious ice is invaluable, and he just got it like that." However, seeing Jiang Fan not far away, he couldn't help but gloat. "If I were you, I wouldn't have revealed the fog demon. Now it's clear he collects the treasure without difficulty." Jiang Fan, arms crossed, frowning slightly, said, "He may not get it." Chapter 379. Chapter 379, Entering the Poison Mist. Chapter 379. Chapter 379, Entering the Poison Mist. The target of that fog demon seemed to be to dominate this seven-colored mysterious ice. How could it not leave some tricks on it? Taking it won't be easy. A quarter of an hour later, under the tense watch of everyone, Xue Wanchong finally found the center of the poison mist. There was where the seven-colored mysterious ice was located. Lu Ziyunian's lips curled up. "It's done." It seems Xue Wanchong is indeed more skillful. Such a terrifying poison mist, and he could persist for a quarter of an hour. It's truly unbelievable. He was very thankful for inviting Xue Wanchong, who had the bloodline of an ancient giant. Otherwise, solving the trouble here would have been a distant dream. Poof, suddenly. The center of the poison mist erupted like a volcano. A dense mass of poison mist, almost substantial in form, suddenly spewed out. It was 10 times thicker than the surrounding mist. So dense it was frightening. As it fell, it quickly fused with the original poison mist, causing its density to rise drastically. In an instant, Xue Wanchong's screams could be heard. Next, his massive figure came rushing back along the black iron soft silk, the momentum like a scared giant elephant. Soon, Xue Wanchong broke out of the poison mist. His appearance made everyone's scalp tingle with fear. His entire body was covered in countless rotting patches densely packed together. Not an inch of his skin was intact. The most horrifying part was his hands. All flesh was gone, leaving only bloody bone claws. If it weren't for his ancient giant bloodline's protection, even his bones would have been corroded into nothing. Just as he ran out, he lost his strength and fell heavily to the ground. Upon a closer look, his eyes were blurry, showing he had inhaled too much poison mist and was now unconscious. He had relied solely on sheer willpower to make it back. Lu Ziyunian was horrified. He quickly took out a superior healing pill and stuffed it into Xue Wanchong's mouth. Only then did Xue Wanchong gradually regain consciousness, successfully saving a life. "What happened?" Lu Ziyunian asked in shock and uncertainty. Xue Wanchong replied with difficulty. Under that seven-colored mysterious ice, there was a mass of liquefied poison mist. When I moved it, it erupted. If I hadn't promptly activated the ancient giant bloodline, blocking 90% of the poison mist, I would have become a pool of blood. What? Lu Ziyunian cursed. That damned fog demon! He looked once more at the significantly denser poison mist and said, "Zai Liushu, do you still dare to go down?" Zai Liushu hesitated slightly. "I'll give it a try." He downed several bottles of prepared detoxification spirit liquid, took a deep breath, and approached the edge of the poison mist. He extended a finger into it. Hiss, the sound of intense corrosion on metal immediately resounded. Feeling a shock, Zai Liushu quickly retracted his hand. With a pained gasp, his finger was so corroded that it was a bloody mess. Zai Liushu staggered back in fright, away from the poison mist, still shaken. The toxicity of the poison mist has increased several times. This junior can do nothing more. The seven-colored, mysterious ice was indeed enticing. But you'd need your life to claim it? The explosion of the poison mist had surpassed far beyond what he could bear. Lu Ziyunian's face was dark as water. Xue Wanchong was injured, Zai Liushu was helpless. The poison mist had erupted again, soon to contaminate even deeper into the mine. "The sky is falling," Lu Ziyunian sighed to the heavens. These mines accounted for 30% of the Supreme Sect's crystal stones. He didn't dare imagine what kind of cataclysm would follow if news of the mine's destruction got back to the sect. He would be the first to bear the brunt as the elder sent to handle the matter. He couldn't shirk the blame. A suffocating sense of impending doom made his vision darken, his steps stagger. At that moment, a soft voice reached his ear. "Let me try." Lu Ziyunian steadied himself, realizing it was Jiang Fan. The bit of light that had just risen in his eyes dimmed again. "Zai Liushu and Xue Wanchong couldn't do it. What can you do?" Jiang Fan didn't respond. He walked straight to the edge of the poison mist, rolled up his sleeves, and extended his arm into it. A wave of heat surged over. The poison mist infiltrated his body through his pores, but before it could wreak any havoc within Jiang Fan's body, it was absorbed by the poison pill inside him. 3 breaths later, Jiang Fan withdrew his arm, still fair and unscathed, without even a trace of burning. "Should be no problem." This sight made Lu Ziyunian's old eyes gradually widen, his oppressive mood turning to sheer joy. You are really resistant to poison." Zai Liushu's face looked as if he'd seen a ghost. "Is it real? Has this guy practiced poison techniques?" The injured Xue Wanchong raised his head in shock, his eyes wide like bronze bells. "How is he unscathed? Can it be that my ancient giant bloodline is inferior to his poison techniques?" The Supreme Sect outpost disciples who had lost all hope erupted in cheers. "There's still hope. Our mining area still has hope." Lu Ziyunian's eyebrows lit up with joy. He approached eagerly. "Jiang Fan, quick, please remove that 7-colored mysterious ice. As long as you take it away, the 7-colored mysterious ice is yours to dispose of." But Jiang Fan didn't rush. He said, "Elder Lu, have you forgotten there are 2 terms to my condition? The 7-colored mysterious ice is just one of them." Lu Ziyunian then remembered Jiang Fan had another demand, and that was to split the territory of the Supreme Sect with the Green Cloud Sect. "That's impossible," Lu Ziyunian said firmly. "Even if I agree, the sect master won't consent." Jiang Fan, with hands behind his back, looked at the heavily infested mining area and said, "I think the Supreme Sect Master would want you to agree, knowing the current situation. After all, losing the entire mining area versus losing only half, even a child could make such a simple choice." This, Lu Ziyunian hesitated. Qin Wangchuan shook his head. "What a fool! Consider what will happen if you watch the entire mining area get destroyed and then return to the sect." Gasp, Lu Ziyunian shuddered. Only then did he realize the crux of the matter. Perhaps his decision to cede half the territory would invoke the sect's displeasure, but missing the chance to salvage half of it would incur the sect's thunderous wrath. The severity of each consequence was evident. "Fine. I agree," Jiang Fan gave a slight smile. He took out pen and paper, drafting the agreement on the spot. With Lu Ziyunian signing as the elder in charge of the mining area's poison mist issue, the Supreme Sect couldn't deny the agreement. With both parties' signatures, Jiang Fan smiled again. "Wait for my good news." He grabbed one end of the black iron soft silk, tying it around his waist. Then, calmly, he took out the heavenly silkworm silk and tied one end to a rock. He wouldn't trust his life to something belonging to others. Heavenly mountain silk, tried in real combat, was far more reliable. With thorough preparations, he leaped into the poison mist. The poison mist, which scalded the skin, surged over him. It entered through his pores, mouth, nose, and ears, infiltrating every part. But once inside Jiang Fan's body, it was all absorbed by the poison pill. Jiang Fan held the compass, quickly advancing in the direction indicated by the needle. In just a short time, he reached the center of the poison mist without a hitch. Then he saw the slightly displaced seven-colored mysterious ice. It was about the size of a baby's head, round and emitting an incredibly chilling aura. Streams of seven-colored poison mist constantly emanated from it. At the original location of the seven-colored mysterious ice, some liquefied seven-colored poison mist remained. This was what had trapped Xue Wanchong earlier. "It's my good fortune," Jiang Fan smiled faintly. He bent to pick up the seven-colored mysterious ice. But the poison mist behind him suddenly moved strangely. An irregular mass of poison mist thrust out a claw and fiercely stabbed at Jiang Fan's back. Silent, invisible, leaving Jiang Fan no time to react. Chapter 380. Chapter 380. Master, now you know how wronged I am. Chapter 380. Chapter 380. Master, now you know how wronged I am. Plop, however. Just as the misty claw was about to pierce Jiang Fan's back, a flash of purple light without any warning came from the distant mist, instantly piercing through it. Howl, a wailing sound like that of an injured leopard echoed around. The irregular mass of poison mist fell to the ground, struggling in pain. From the wound pierced by the purple sword, dark gray blood flowed out. Jiang Fan raised his hand and the purple sword flew into his palm. He said coldly, "I guessed you were faking death long ago. Fog demon." It turned out that Lu Ziyunian's fire talisman hadn't killed it. It was just acting for everyone to see. The purpose was to make those behind let their guard down. Xue Wanchong was fooled and moved the seven-colored mysterious ice without any precaution. He got hit by the trap laid by the fog demon. Since entering the poison mist, Jiang Fan had been on guard. When he was close to the seven-colored mysterious ice, he quietly buried the purple sword nearby. Waiting for it to reveal itself, he used the sword control technique to give it a fatal blow. This time it couldn't pretend anymore. Squeak, squeak, squeak. The fog demon let out an ear-piercing scream. It struggled, moving toward the seven-colored mysterious ice. Jiang Fan tapped his toe, picked up the seven-colored mysterious ice, and placed it into a prepared bundle. "Sorry, it's mine now." At the same time, he slashed with his sword. Under the purple sword that could cut through anything, the fog demon's body was split in two. With a violent wail, the two halves of its body convulsed and then gradually stopped struggling. It was dead, truly dead, with the item in hand. Jiang Fan immediately headed back the way he came, but after walking halfway, he suddenly felt a looseness at his waist. He touched it with his hand. To his surprise, he found that the black iron soft silk was broken. His face changed sharply. Though not as hard as the heavenly mountain silk, it was still a rare treasure. Otherwise, Lu Ziyunian wouldn't consider it so precious. It wasn't something that could break easily, unless something extremely sharp cut it. At the same time, Lu Ziyunian, holding the other end of the black iron soft silk, also suddenly felt it go slack. He felt something was wrong. He tried to pull it with force. As a result, a much shorter piece of black iron soft silk was pulled back. "Broken?" Lu Ziyunian's eyes showed surprise. Upon discovering that the break was smooth and sharp, like it was caused by some kind of cut, his face changed and he shouted, "Jiang Fan, Jiang Fan, Jiang Fan! Come back quickly. There's something else in the poison mist." There was another sentence he didn't dare to shout, for fear of frightening Jiang Fan. That is, this thing was 10 times more dangerous than the fog demon. Lu Ziyunian didn't dare to imagine what could cut the black iron soft silk. If he encountered it himself, he would be in danger. Let alone Jiang Fan? Jiang Fan didn't need his reminder to sense the presence of danger. Fortunately, he didn't lose his direction because of it, because he still had a piece of heavenly mountain silk tied to his waist. "Cutting off my retreat. Are you trying to trap me or wear me out slowly?" Let me guess, the reason you don't dare to attack directly is that you fear this sword in my hand, right? He squinted his eyes and looked around. At this moment, his field of vision had shrunk to less than 1 meter due to the rapidly thickening poison mist. Stepping forward, he could only see the heel of the step he took. Even discerning the tip of his foot was difficult. In such circumstances, it was possible that the opponent was within half a meter without being detected. The surroundings were deathly quiet. Only the poison mist was constantly moving. It was impossible to tell if there were enemies nearby. The tense atmosphere alone could drive most people crazy. The opponent was waiting for Jiang Fan to lose his rationality. However, Jiang Fan remained very calm. He slowly untied the long wooden box from his back. After opening it with a slap, he held an ivory-white ancient zither in his arms. "Let me see what you are after all. Tiger and dragon roar." Jiang Fan shouted lowly and decisively plucked the strings, playing a sharp melody that seemed to explode in one's ears. At first listen, it sounded like a dragon soaring from the water, roaring mightily beside the ear. Upon its appearance, the surrounding air vibrated. The terrifying sound waves created bursts of air currents, pushing outwards from Jiang Fan as the center in all directions. The dense, seven-colored poison mist was forcibly blown away, revealing a circular clearing with a 10-meter diameter. The ground looked like it had been plowed by cattle, covered in smoking trenches formed by the sound waves. Jiang Fan noticed. Not 2 meters from him, there was a pool of 7-colored blood on the ground. So there had indeed been something near him just now, and it was only 2 meters away, almost face to face. If he hadn't decisively used the indiscriminate sound path technique, he might have been in danger. At the same time, a white cloud drifted across the sky. Hidden within the cloud was a bird. On its back sat Lin Yuheng and her disciple Xue Wanchong. Xue Wanchong bit her lips and said, "Did you see it? Master, did you see it? I wasn't lying, that rascal really knows the sound path technique." Her face was full of excitement. She could finally prove that she hadn't been lying. That little rascal was finally exposed. Lin Yuheng looked down in shock at Jiang Fan standing with the zither in the poison mist. She had come based on the intelligence from the heavenly mechanism pavilion to eradicate the demon beast lurking here. Unexpectedly, as soon as she arrived on the bird, she saw a sudden change in the poison mist's center. An unknown powerful sound wave had forcibly scattered a large portion of the poison mist, revealing a human figure. And that person was none other than Jiang Fan. "Why is he here?" Lin Yuheng exclaimed in surprise. Xue Wanchong said discontentedly, "Master, is that the main point? The point is he really knows the sound path technique." Lin Yuheng glared at her and said, "Be quiet. Knowing the sound path technique is not as mystical as you make it out to be. This demon beast is a mature 7-colored poison toad, the source of the poison mist. Its strength is at the 4th level of core formation, a mid-stage Jiden Great Demon King, which isn't something he can handle. I need to go down and help him." She glanced out of the poison mist and saw a figure that seemed to be a 6-year-old child. She paused, so the Supreme Elder Xue Wanchong of Green Cloud Sect is also here. "It looks like I made a wasted trip. But why isn't she making a move? Is she grinding Jiang Fan's skills? Isn't she afraid of grinding him to death? This is a 7-colored poison toad." Behind her, Xue Wanchong crossed her arms and angrily said, "Master, you can rest assured. The 7-colored poison toad may not necessarily be able to do anything to that little freak. Just watch." Lin Yuheng tapped her on the forehead and lectured. "What is wrong with you? Why are you so hostile towards this new disciple? I've told you someone else hurt you, not him." Xue Wanchong was so angry that she grinded her teeth loudly. "Fine, fine, fine. Just keep an eye on that little freak's true strength. If he doesn't scare you half to death, I'll eat that 7-colored poison toad alive." Chapter 381. Chapter 381, 7-colored poison toad. Chapter 381. Chapter 381, 7-colored poison toad in the poison mist. Jiang Fan held the zither, moving back along the heavenly mountain silk slowly but steadily. As he approached the poison mist area ahead, he once again performed Tiger and Dragon Roar, clearing a stretch of 5 zhang ahead. Repeating this process, he cautiously advanced a few more zhang, then used a sound path technique again, keeping the hidden creatures at bay. A full incense stick of time later, Jiang Fan had walked a good portion of the way. He was not far from where Lu Ziyunian and the others were. If he could hold on a bit longer, he would successfully leave the poison mist area. However, the closer he got, the more vigilant he became. because his intuition told him that the creature was waiting for an opportunity, waiting for Jiang Fan to relax, to deliver a fatal blow. Now it was a test of patience. Obviously, Jiang Fan was so cautious. He was about to leave the poison mist. Eventually, it was the hidden creature that couldn't wait any longer. When Jiang Fan once again used a sound path technique to clear an area, the poison mist on his right rear side suddenly surged intensely. A crimson tendril, too fast for the naked eye to catch, shot forward like lightning. Jiang Fan focused and was startled upon seeing it. It was a sticky, tentacle-like object as thick as an arm. Its speed was incredibly fast. Jiang Fan had no time to counterattack, but he was already prepared, ready to use his movement technique at any moment. With a swish, he leaped 10 zhang in an instant. The spot where he had just stood was struck by the tendril, creating a pit with a bang. Then it quickly retracted. In the clouds, Lin Yuheng exclaimed, "Movement technique." He actually mastered a movement technique, and he can leap 10 zhang in one step, even better than Yu Qingsu. My God, doesn't a movement technique require extremely high comprehension? How does he know it? Ryuan Qingsu crossed her arms over her chest, coldly huffing. Master, you'll be even more surprised later. In the poison mist, that fierce creature, having failed with its first strike, shot another crimson tendril forward. This time, Jiang Fan had time to react. Regretful dragon? The five-colored energy on his fingertips had been ready. As the crimson tendril approached, he decisively executed the final move of heavenly ruined finger. With a swish, a five-colored beam shot from his fingertips straight at the tendril. Roar, a painful howl immediately echoed from within the poison mist. The tendril retracted from the pain. Ah, an earth-level finger technique! Lin Yuheng's astonished voice came from the clouds. An earth-level sound path technique was impressive enough, but now an earth-level finger technique too? But this was far from over. Jiang Fan pressed the advantage. He determined the creature's location from its howl and immediately rubbed his hands together, sending the purple sword spinning rapidly between his palms. Simultaneously, he activated his sword heart. Go! With a swoosh, the purple sword turned into a shadow and pierced through the poison mist in an instant. Roar, this time the creature was truly injured, letting out an angry roar. It stirred up a large area of the poison mist, charging towards Jiang Fan. Ah, sword control technique, did I see it right? It's a sword control technique. Lin Yuheng's scream of shock echoed through the clouds like she had seen a ghost. Thud, thud, thud amid the earth-shaking loud noise. Jiang Fan finally saw what was attacking him. It was actually a giant toad, 10 zhang tall, covered in 7-colored hues and dotted with countless warts, with its mouth continuously spewing 7-colored poison mist. A bloody, mangled crimson tongue hung from its mouth, unable to retract. The sticky tendril from before had actually been its tongue. A 7-colored poison toad? Jiang Fan's scalp tingled. Why is it this wretched thing? Without hesitation, he used his movement technique, flying along the heavenly mountain silk toward the area beyond the poison mist. A mature 7-colored poison toad possessed the 4th level of core formation realm, and it had several troublesome innate attacks. Its tongue was only its most basic attack method. This troublesome creature should be dealt with by Lu Ziyunian, better to retreat quickly. How could the 7-colored poison toad let Jiang Fan escape? Shaking its body, from its numerous warts emerged fist-sized 7-colored little poison toads, croaking wildly, raining down on Jiang Fan. Wandering dragon palm? Jiang Fan didn't dare be careless. His palms moved like dragons, unleashing palm strikes that roared like dragons. The little poison toads near him were all sent flying. Despite their small size, each of these toads could self-destruct. Each was equivalent to a core formation attack. If they rained down densely, even a mid-stage Jidan cultivator couldn't withstand it. Ah, he really knows an earth-level palm technique? In the clouds, Lin Yuheng once again exclaimed in shock. Seeing its little poison toads get hit away without exception, the 7-colored poison toad was utterly enraged. Its throat emitted deep roars as it lay flat on the ground, its hind legs scraping the earth, letting out progressively louder roars from its throat. Jiang Fan's face changed. Things didn't look good. It was preparing to use a powerful innate attack. Swoosh! The 7-colored poison toad kicked off with its hind legs. Its seemingly bulky and obese body charged forward at an astonishing speed. Before Jiang Fan could react, its giant mouth was already closing in on him. If its jaws came together, the terrifying bite force would crush Jiang Fan into a meat patty. In the critical moment, Jiang Fan shouted, "Thunder Dragon Lightning Leg!" His legs were suddenly surrounded by thunder dragons. As he kicked at the seven-colored poison toad's lower jaw with a thundering boom, a thunderclap resounded in the clear sky. The powerful lightning instantly pierced through its lower jaw, blasting out a giant charred hole. As the upper jaw closed in, Jiang Fan pressed his hands against his waist and slid swiftly through the blood hole. He slipped out just in time from underneath its chin. In the clouds, Lin Yuheng gasped, "Thunder Path Technique, it's really the Thunder Path Technique of the true Thunder Sect." Her face was full of shock. Movement Technique, Sound Path Technique, Palm Technique, Thunder Path Technique, Sword Control Technique. If she hadn't seen it with her own eyes, she would never believe that someone could simultaneously train in so many Earth-level techniques. Could a human really do this? "Master, do you have any thoughts?" Ryuan Kingsu supported her ample chest with both hands, her snow-white neck held high, her face full of grievance. The implication was clear. "You owe me an apology." Lin Yuheng's expression stiffened. She finally realized that from beginning to end, Ryuan Kingsu hadn't lied once. Not a single word was a lie. The one who beat her half to death was indeed Jiang Fan. Moreover, he truly did train in the techniques of both the Heavenly Sound Sect and the True Thunder Sect, and he mastered several Earth-level techniques. He even inherited Su Qingyang's sword control technique. Kingsu, now's not the time to talk about this. Jiang Fan is in danger. As your master, I must first rescue him." Just as she was about to dive down, the lower jaw of the seven-colored poison toad, pierced and in severe pain, had infuriated it, causing continuous roars. It lowered its head and spat out a mouthful of seven-colored liquid at Jiang Fan. It was its venom. Lin Yuheng's expression changed dramatically. "This is bad. The venom of the seven-colored poison toad is lethal even to late-stage of core formation cultivators." Ryuan Kingsu was also startled. The venom could corrode Jiang Fan into mush. But the scene that stunned both Lin Yuheng and Ryuan Kingsu appeared. Chapter 382. Chapter 382, Whipping the Corpse in Anger. Chapter 382. Chapter 382, Whipping the Corpse in Anger. A large amount of seven-colored poison sprayed all over Jiang Fan. Yet he acted as if nothing had happened. Taking advantage of the opportunity, he showcased his movement technique and ran off swiftly. His speed was surprisingly even faster than a rabbit. The seven-colored poison toad was stunned. It seemed to be doubting its own existence. This deadly poison was something it had used for years to kill its mortal enemies. One dose. Even a martial artist at the 7th level of core formation would dissolve into pus on the spot. After roaming the demon realm for so many years, it had never seen anyone survive its poison. But Jiang Fan ran away lively and unharmed. So much so that it even doubted for a moment whether it had sprayed the wrong poison. Upon realizing it, it roared in humiliation and anger. Outrageous. It, a dignified seven-colored poison toad, kept getting humiliated by a mere human junior. It roared while chasing Jiang Fan. But in that short moment, Jiang Fan had already successfully escaped the poison mist area. While rapidly operating the poison pill, he absorbed every drop of the deadly poison on his body. From the clouds, Lin Yuheng was stunned. Isn't this the 9-poison true scripture of the myriad sword sect? Did he also practice this and succeeded? Ryuan Kingsu was dumbfounded. This little freak, did he even practice poison techniques? At this point, Lin Yuheng looked at Ryuan Kingsu with lingering fear. "You have a very tough life. To meet him and still survive. In my opinion, anyone at the 3rd level of core formation who encounters him is sure to die." Ryuan Kingsu showed a look of lingering fear. It seemed that when Jiang Fan attacked back then, he hadn't used his full strength. At least, he didn't use his physique or poison techniques. Otherwise, she would have most certainly ended up as fertilizer for plants. But Ryuan Kingsu suddenly came back to her senses. She said pitifully, "Master, the culprit has been found. You should seek justice for your disciple, right? This freak beat your disciple half to death." Thinking of this, she ground her silver teeth, her delicate nose making humming sounds. "You little bastard, your end is near. Let's see how my master deals with you." "Ha ha ha, who would have thought?" Lin Yuheng's face turned stern. "What freak? This is your future junior brother." "Ah," Ryuan Kingsu's eyes widened. "Master, what do you mean? You want to take him as a disciple?" Lin Yuheng looked at Jiang Fan on the ground, his eyes shining. "Isn't it obvious? A prodigy like this, placed in our heavenly mechanism pavilion, would rival those legendary prodigies. How could I miss this opportunity when I found him? When the heavenly mechanism pavilion recruits disciples, I will take him as my disciple immediately. To hesitate for even a moment would be disrespectful to such a prodigy." Ryuan Kingsu felt an urge to vomit blood. The scenario where her enemy becomes her junior brother was happening to her. She unwillingly said, "Then how do we settle the account of him beating me?" Lin Yuheng replied irritably. "Isn't it normal for senior and junior brothers to fight? Why hold a grudge? No tolerance at all." No, is this fighting? She was being beaten up by Jiang Fan, nearly losing her life. And what's senior and junior brothers? They're not even that yet, right? Since Supreme Elder Xue Wanchong is here, we won't stay any longer. When the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion recruits disciples, I'll come to find Jiang Fan. "Let's go," a creaking sound. The flying beast broke through the air and left. On the ground, Xue Wanchong looked up, glancing at the flying beast indifferently, then started examining Jiang Fan. "You kid, you're surprisingly strong." The situation within the poison mist did not escape her notice. She initially planned to act when Jiang Fan was in mortal danger. Unexpectedly, Jiang Fan fought the seven-colored poison toad without falling behind. He even gained some advantages. This was far beyond his expectations. Jiang Fan had no time to respond to her. With a swift step, he took her and ran far away. Not long after they ran out, the seven-colored poison toad roared and charged out of the poison mist, seeking to hunt Jiang Fan to the death. As soon as it came out, it faced the stern-looking Lu Ziyunian. "Good, good, good. I wondered where the poison mist came from. I really thought it was some mutation of the seven-colored mysterious ice. It turns out it was you, this cursed beast, causing trouble. Because of this, he had to cede a piece of seven-colored mysterious ice. He lost a large amount of polluted ore. His most cherished black iron soft silk was destroyed. He also lost half of his territory for nothing, all thanks to this damned toad." The seven-colored poison toad was dumbfounded. "Wait, there are so many people outside." And even a human clan elder at the late stage of core formation, its pupils contracted sharply. Panicking, it tried to retreat back into the poison mist. "Die!" Lu Ziyunian struck in anger. With a raised hand and sword, he slashed viciously. Splatter, how terrifying would an enraged strike from someone at the late stage of core formation be? A long sword chi sliced the seven-colored poison toad in half from top to bottom. One strike killed it. Even so, Lu Ziyunian was still not satisfied. He swung dozens of more cuts, chopping the seven-colored poison toad into meat paste before stopping. "Beast, beast!" Lu Ziyunian grew angrier as he thought about it. A mere toad had brought such misery to him and the Supreme Sect. Jiang Fan watched with regret on his face. The seven-colored poison toad was full of treasures, especially the toad venom in its warts, which was a top-grade medicinal ingredient capable of saving lives. Nonetheless, he had a decent harvest, successfully digging up the seven-colored mysterious ice and obtaining half of the Supreme Sect's mine. "Ahem, Elder Lu, since the matter is settled, it's time to fulfill your previous promise," Jiang Fan reminded. Lu Ziyunian glared at him angrily, extremely reluctant to fulfill it. But with Xue Wanchong watching, he couldn't renege on the promise. With a glance at the rapidly dissipating poison mist, Lu Ziyunian reluctantly said, "From today onwards, this mine is divided east and west. The east belongs to our Supreme Sect, and the west to your Green Cloud Sect." Jiang Fan cupped his hands. "Thank you. I shall take my leave now." Having reaped the benefits, he dared not linger in Lu Ziyunian's presence any longer. He made a hasty exit. Watching him leave, Xue Wanchong pounded the ground in frustration. "Damn it, he got the seven-colored mysterious ice. That was necessary for enhancing my ancient giant bloodline," Zai Liushu took schadenfreude in saying. "Then go and snatch it." Xue Wanchong snorted. "If I weren't injured, see if I wouldn't snatch it." Zai Liushu smiled without saying anything. Snatch it from Jiang Fan? He must have a death wish, to fight such a fierce beast for so long without getting injured. Just that fact alone, he couldn't think of many in the same generation who could do it, except Xia Caoj and the chief of the Asura sect. At the Green Cloud sect's stronghold, Lin Fanhai was pacing in the wooden hut. "I wonder how junior brother Jiang is doing. Whether he got the seven-colored mysterious ice is secondary, not getting hurt is the most important." At this moment, the sound of horse hooves neighing came. Lin Fanhai hurried out to see that it was Jiang Fan's carriage, and finally his worry eased. "Junior brother Jiang, you have finally returned. Come in and rest quickly." Jiang Fan lifted the carriage curtain. He said, "Now that this matter is settled, I won't trouble Deacon Lin anymore. I shall take my leave." Lin Fanhai felt disappointed. He had wanted to throw a grand banquet to thank Jiang Fan, but the latter was leaving in such a hurry. "By the way, this agreement needs to be delivered by Deacon Lin to the Green Cloud sect in person. Leave immediately, without any delay." Jiang Fan handed over the mind transfer agreement to Lin Fanhai. Meanwhile, he solemnly took out the sect master's jade pendant. Lin Fanhai earnestly replied, "Understood." Having handed it over, Jiang Fan left with a grand wave, leaving Lin Fanhai holding the folded agreement, his face full of mixed emotions. The disciples nearby, seeing that they had gone far, whispered discontentedly, "In the end, he's just like those others, using the sect's emblem to order people around. Is it necessary for Deacon Lin to personally deliver just a letter? There are so many things waiting for Deacon Lin to deal with here." Lin Fanhai also felt a bit helpless. Sending a letter, such a trivial task, ordering a deacon to do it was indeed like using a sledgehammer to crack a nut. But considering Jiang Fan had pleaded with the sect master for their sake, he decided to bear it. Fine, I'll go personally this time. It's just a bit more tiring, that's all," with a slight sense of resistance. He casually opened the folded agreement. His eyes swept over the content and he gasped in shock. Mind transfer agreement. Chapter 383. Chapter 383 Xianxia's Social Death. Chapter 383. Chapter 383 Xianxia's Social Death. The disciple came closer, confused, and asked, "Deacon Lin, what is this mining area transfer document?" Lin Fanhai abruptly woke up. He quickly closed the agreement and said, "Don't ask. Quickly prepare the horses. This agreement must be sent back to the sect with urgent priority." "Is it that important?" The disciple was startled, hastily went to prepare the horses, and asked, "But after you leave, what do we do about the mine? Continue mining or stop?" Some procedures still required Deacon Lin's personal management. Lin Fanhai said, "Who cares about the mine?" He was parched with thirst. His mind was filled with the earth-shattering content of the agreement. The Supreme Sect was transferring half of the mining area to the Green Cloud Sect for free. This was an unprecedented event. No time to worry about a few days of mining. Such an important matter for Jiang Fan to entrust him, a mere deacon with this assignment, was truly flattering. This was his opportunity to shine and achieve merit before the sect. Understanding Jiang Fan's true intention, Lin Fanhai was immensely grateful. "Junior brother Jiang, you are my great benefactor." The horse's hooves galloped lightly. Jiang Fan had already embarked on his journey to the Usura sect. "Is this the seven-colored mysterious crystal?" Inside the carriage, he took out a head-sized piece of seven-colored mysterious ice. Admiring the crystal emitting colorful light, he couldn't help but marvel. This mysterious ice was extraordinarily cold, but it did not freeze the body. Instead, it froze spiritual power. Holding it for a while, he could feel the flow of spiritual power being obstructed. "One of the main ingredients for the Xianxia pill is secured," Jiang Fan thought to himself. Xianxia stared at him and scoffed. "Going through such an effort, what's the use of this broken stone? Only people from the outer domain would covet such a thing." Jiang Fan pinched her cheek. "Little girl, don't you know everything? Where's your earlier arrogance gone? You don't even know the wonders of the seven-colored mysterious ice. It can be used for alchemy and to forge powerful magic artifacts. More importantly, it can awaken latent bloodline potential. It's actually an extremely precious treasure." Xianxia looked surprised. Every year, the seven-colored mysterious ice mined by the sects was sold at high prices to the outer domain forces. Its usage had remained a mystery until now. Unexpectedly, Jiang Fan casually revealed the truth. "However, I find it a bit strange." Jiang Fan held the seven-colored mysterious crystal and said, "Why would the seven-colored poison toad and fog demon risk entering the human territory to covet the seven-colored mysterious crystal? Moreover, why didn't they take the crystal away when they could? Why did they set up a poison mist and stay near the seven-colored mysterious crystal? Could there be something inside it?" He used his eyesight to look deep into the crystal. Upon closer inspection, he truly found something inside. It looks like there's a blood vessel inside. It's still pulsating, it's alive." Jiang Fan was greatly surprised. Xianxia also looked with curiosity. Impossible. But upon close inspection, she indeed saw something resembling a blood vessel inside. "It's an innate bloodline," Xianxia exclaimed. "I can't believe something like this exists in the world. This is the essence blood of a divinity transformation-level demon beast, dripped onto a spiritual object and transformed into a divine object through the course of time. It's said to possess 1/10 of the divine abilities of the essence blood's owner." Her eyes sparkled with longing. Jiang Fan handed the mysterious ice to her. "Do you want it? I'll give it to you." Xianxia was stunned. "Really?" "Of course not." Jiang Fan laughed. "With such a valuable name, of course, I want to keep it for myself." Crunch, Xianxia clenched her little fists, making a crunching sound. She had never been so treated this way in her life. It seems those two demon beasts wanted to absorb this innate bloodline. But before they succeeded, we thwarted their plan. Jiang Fan stroked his chin, smiling. Let's take it to the giant sect. Find an opportunity to dispose of it. Since it was demon beast essence blood, only demon beasts could use it. But that didn't matter. The giant sect practiced all sorts of chaotic body-refining methods, even consuming blood corpse worms. To them, an innate bloodline might be considered a treasure. Several days later, Jiang Fan finally arrived in the outer city of the giant sect. Compared to the quiet green cloud city, Giant City was bustling with people, full of life. Filled with disciples from the 9 sects, martial arts families, and people from all walks of life. The city's law and order had greatly deteriorated. Stealing, robbing, and cheating were rampant. Upon entering the city, they witnessed a chaotic scene of people being chased. "All right, put me down." Xue Wanchong let out a long breath. Finally, she could get rid of this brat, only she knew how much anger she had to suppress along the way. "Where are your relatives?" Jiang Fan asked. In such a chaotic city, he dared not leave Xianxia before confirming her handover. Xue Wanchong frowned. "So bothersome." She wanted to randomly point to a mansion and send Jiang Fan away. Who knew? An elderly voice came from the side. "You finally arrived. We've been waiting for you for quite a while." Jiang Fan looked in the direction of the voice. An old man in his 80s, bald-headed, laughing as he walked towards Xue Wanchong. He wore a black robe embroidered with patterns of copper coins, ingots, and other symbols. With a round hat and a large belly, he had a wealthy countryside appearance. Jiang Fan was momentarily perplexed. Since entering the martial path realm, he had not seen such a gaudy dress. Out of caution, he held Xianxuan's hand and asked, "May I know who you are?" The old man looked at the two of them and mumbled. When this old woman was young, whoever treated her like a child would suffer her wrath. Now, nearing her grave, she likes this game. Jiang Fan couldn't hear the old man's muttering. Xue Wanchong blushed and let go of Jiang Fan's hand. "You can leave now. This is my relative." Relative, the old man's mouth twitched. Who would dare to lay a hand on the green cloud sect's little tyrant's relative? He was Xianxia, the supreme elder of the 1,000 Refinement sect. This time, each of the 9 sects sent a supreme elder to Giant City to discuss a major event. The supreme elders of the other 8 sects had arrived. Only Xue Wanchong had yet to arrive. He stationed himself at the city gate, waiting for days to finally see her. Only then did he understand why Xue Wanchong was delayed. She had a burden to carry along the way. No wonder she arrived late. "Okay, young man, you can leave now." Xianxia noticed that Jiang Fan seemed unaware of Xue Wanchong's identity, so he helped smooth things over. Jiang Fan frowned slightly. He didn't know this man's name or place of residence, so how could he leave Xianxia with him? "Since I've begun this task, may I know where the elder resides? I will personally deliver Xianxia." "What? Xianxia?" Xianxia was stunned, almost bursting out in laughter. The infamous little tyrant was given the name Xianxia. Unbelievable. This amusing news must be shared with the other elders. Chapter 384. Chapter 384, All Die Together. Chapter 384. Chapter 384, All Die Together. Xue Wanchong stomped the ground anxiously, gritting her teeth as she said, "You need to leave. Don't embarrass me." She couldn't even begin to imagine how humiliating it would be if Jiang Fan called her Xianxia in front of a group of old fogies. Jiang Fan frowned and replied, "Stop being difficult. I'll leave after I drop you off at home." "Old sir, please show the way." Xianxia, delighted to see Xue Wanchong's predicament, grinned so widely that his eyes turned into slits. All right, follow me, quickly follow me." Xue Wanchong bit down hard on her silver teeth in shame and frustration. Yet she still didn't want to reveal her identity in front of Jiang Fan at this moment. She had no choice but to keep trying to block their way. Unfortunately, to Jiang Fan, it all seemed like nothing more than a childish tantrum, and he ignored it entirely. Finally, they arrived at a rather majestic mansion. Kong Mansion. Jiang Fan's eyes revealed a hint of surprise. Wasn't the sect master of Giant Sect surnamed Kong? What kind of relationship did Xue Wanchong have with Kong Mansion? Curious, he followed Xianxia into the rear garden of the mansion. There, a few elderly men and women were chatting in small groups. As soon as they saw Xue Wanchong's arrival, they started approaching her to pay their respects. Fortunately, Xianxia spoke up first, saying, "Wanchong is here to seek refuge with us, her family. You all better treat her well in the future." Family? The people present were all supreme elders from various sects. Every single one of them was the cream of the crop in intellect and cunning. A brief pause was followed by glances darting between Jiang Fan and Xue Wanchong, after which they quickly grasped the situation almost completely. They cooperated by nodding in agreement. Some of those who had close relationships with Xue Wanchong even took the opportunity for some light teasing. "Young man, don't you worry. I'm Wangchuan's great-aunt, and I'll be sure to take good care of her. I'm her second grand-aunt, and I'm the third grand-aunt." Xue Wanchong's temple throbbed fiercely. She was clearly close to the breaking point of her fiery temper. Jiang Fan relaxed upon hearing this. So it truly turned out they were Wanchong's family. He cupped his hands respectfully and said, "Honorable sirs and madams, I was entrusted by Green Cloud Sect's elder when to escort her here for refuge. Now that she has been safely delivered, I have fulfilled my mission. I trust you will take good care of her moving forward." Then he crouched down to make his gaze level with Xue Wanchong's. He gently tidied her slightly messy hair and patted the dust off her shoulders, expressing his guilt. "Your brother is still unmarried and lacks experience in taking care of children. I've caused you a lot of trouble on the way. Now that you're with your relatives, you must remember to be obedient. Don't sass people so freely anymore, all right?" From now on, Wanchong would be living under someone else's roof, just like Jiang Fan had done in the past. The difference was, Jiang Fan still had his father back then, while Wanchong was truly all alone. And she was so young, too. Being bullied and treated harshly in the future was, without a doubt, inevitable. Thinking about the bitterness he endured over the years, Jiang Fan couldn't bear to leave her like this. But it was impractical for him to keep her with him indefinitely. After a moment's pause, Jiang Fan decisively pulled an exquisite jade box from within his robes. Inside, it was a demon core from a silver-winged thunderbird. He turned and handed it to Yu Yingchen, saying, "Old sir, this is the demon core of a silver-winged thunderbird. Selling it to martial artists would fetch quite a sum." The group of supreme elders glanced over at it, momentarily stunned. Well, wasn't that something? Wasn't this precisely the silver-winged thunderbird's demon core that Su Qingyang had been searching high and low for? And this little fellow already had one? Unbelievable. Yu Yingchen was just as dumbfounded. Wait, who was this young man exactly? Initially, he thought Xue Wanchong had been playing pranks and brought along some handsome scholar out of nowhere. But honestly, what kind of handsome scholar could take out such a rare treasure as this? "You're giving this to me?" Yu Yingchen stared at the jade box in front of him, even more puzzled. Jiang Fan replied, "Consider this demon core as compensation for your kind care of her. In light of this demon core, I hope you treat her well in the future. Don't hit her, don't scold her, and don't starve her or leave her cold. If you truly can't bear to keep her anymore, send a message back to Green Cloud Sect. I will personally come and take her back." Perhaps it was because he had been drenched by storms himself that he now wanted to hold up an umbrella for others. Jiang Fan simply wanted to take care of Wanchong as much as possible. Listening to his heartfelt advice, the group of supreme elders, originally prepared to spectate for amusement, couldn't help but feel moved. For a child he wasn't even related to, Jiang Fan had shown such deep concern and care. It had been a long time since they'd seen such earnestness from someone so young. Yu Yingchen felt the jade box in his hands grow heavier. He shot an accusatory glance at Xue Wanchong. How could you have the heart to mock such a good boy? The rest of the supreme elders, to varying degrees, also cast disapproving looks Xue Wanchong's way. Isn't this going too far? In this day and age, where can you even find kids as good as him? And yet you're teasing him. Breaking his heart, let's hope your conscience can handle it. Xue Wanchong was so angry she nearly coughed up blood. Who was teasing him? I've been protecting him the entire way, thank you very much. She blurted out in frustration. Why are you all so naggy? Just leave already. Was he determined to make her utterly humiliated? Jiang Fan stroked her head and said, "All right, then your brother will take his leave. Until we meet again." Wanchong? What did he call her? Wanchong. Every single supreme elder present, without exception, was utterly floored. Someone actually dared to call Green Cloud Sect's little fiery dragon Wanchong. The sheer contrast made even these supreme elders struggle to keep composed. Some covered their mouths to stifle giggles, while others had their lips twitching uncontrollably, trying to suppress their amusement. Xue Wanchong's small face flushed red as hot embarrassment overwhelmed her. Her foot kept nervously digging at the ground. She wanted nothing more than to find a hole to crawl into then and there. If this wasn't total social death, then what was? Seeing how they wouldn't stop laughing, Xue Wanchong snapped. If I'm dying of embarrassment, then everyone dies with me. I won't be the only one humiliated. Jiang Fan, don't leave just yet. Xue Wanchong stopped Jiang Fan in his tracks and said, "Tell that white-haired old woman what you did at the Supreme Sect Disciple competition." Jiang Fan looked completely baffled. What was up with these old folks laughing? And why was Xue Wanchong making him talk about those martial path stories? You gonna talk or not? Xue Wanchong demanded, stomping her foot. Jiang Fan said, puzzled, "What's there to talk about?" "I tore through the Supreme Sect's elite disciples, which made the Supreme Sect Master so mad that he complained to the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. But they wouldn't understand that stuff, right?" The white-haired woman laughing uncontrollably happened to be one of the Supreme Sect's Supreme Elders. Upon hearing this, her expression froze and went stiff. The other Supreme Elders stared at her, astonished. "Wait, this actually happened. Hold on, isn't this boy supposed to be a new disciple? How could he possibly cut through the Supreme Sect's elite disciples?" And the Supreme Sect Master filed a complaint out of anger. "This sounds absurd." Xue Wanchong snickered coldly. "What's wrong? Not laughing anymore. Did you lose interest in laughing, old lady?" The Supreme Elder from the Supreme Sect grew red in the face, clearly embarrassed. She muttered awkwardly, It's all in the past, best to leave it alone, best to leave it alone." That incident was truly a disgrace for the Supreme Sect. They thought it had been buried and forgotten. Who would have guessed the boy Xue Wanchong brought with her turned out to be Jiang Fan, and he just spilled everything right out in the open. Her old face had nowhere left to hide. But Xue Wanchong wasn't ready to let up just yet. "And Jiang Fan, play a tune for that old man holding the erhu there." Jiang Fan hesitated. "That wouldn't be appropriate. My musical technique is from Heavenly Sound Sect. It might harm people." Wait, what? The old man clutching the erhu was none other than a Supreme Elder of Heavenly Sound Sect. Moments ago, he had proudly declared himself Xue Wanchong's second grandaunt and had joined in the hearty laughter. When he heard Jiang Fan, he chuckled and said, "Young man, you're saying you know techniques from Heavenly Sound Sect. How come I don't know that?" Heavenly Sound Sect's techniques were never passed on casually, and even if they were, few could truly grasp their secrets. He certainly didn't believe that Jiang Fan had mastered anything from Heavenly Sound Sect. Chapter 385. Chapter 385, Establishing Authority for the Supreme Elders. Chapter 385. Chapter 385, Establishing Authority for the Supreme Elders. Jiang Fan rubbed his nose. He slowly began to understand. These old men and women were no ordinary people. They seemed to be from the martial path realm as well. This made things much easier. Ordinary people might not be able to appreciate his martial prowess, but could experts of the martial path realm really fail to see it? From now on, when it came to dealing with Xianxia, they would surely think twice. What would be the consequences of mistreating her? "All right, I'll play a song then." Jiang Fan decisively unfastened the wooden case strapped to his back, slapped it open, and took out an ivory-white ancient zither. When this zither appeared, the Supreme Elder of the Heavenly Sound Sect's smile froze abruptly. "The life-bound magical artifact of the Great Elder of the Heavenly Sound Sect," he asked in shock. "How is it in your hands?" "Oh, it seems someone has some discernment. That's even better." Jiang Fan stroked the zither strings and said, "The chief disciple of the Heavenly Sound Sect, Fu Keohun, framed me in a moment of peril. This ancient zither was used by Elder Ming Yulian to settle Fu Keohun's debt. Oh, by the way, Fu Keohun lost to me in combat. Since he was going to showcase his strength, it was time to bring out these battle achievements that he typically avoided mentioning. What, their prized chief disciple lost to this newcomer? The Supreme Elder's expression was filled with disbelief. Jiang Fan said, "Now I'll perform a martial path technique of the Heavenly Sound Sect. This technique, officially called the Array-Breaking Song, is a musical composition that the Heavenly Sound Sect has been unable to fully comprehend for generations. They arrogantly encouraged me to try deciphering it." The Supreme Elders secretly nodded. The Heavenly Sound Sect, indeed, possessed a highly enigmatic Earth-level musical composition known as the Array-Breaking Song. It was rumored to have flaws, and no one had successfully comprehended it. Even Fu Keohun, hailed as a once-in-a-century prodigy in the sound path, had barely made any progress. The Supreme Elder of the Heavenly Sound Sect chuckled and said, "Well, go ahead, play it. Let this old man hear what you've managed to comprehend." Over the course of many generations, this array-breaking song had gradually become dismissed as defective, seen as impossible to cultivate successfully. Currently, it existed solely to give interested disciples a chance to experiment with their sound path talents. In essence, it had become useless. There was no way he could believe that Jiang Fan, an outsider, had deciphered anything meaningful. But then, Jiang Fan placed his hands on the zither, instantly plucking out sharp, explosive notes that shattered the air. It was as if a mighty dragon had surged forth from the sea, roaring thunderously in their ears. The terrifying sound waves generated by the notes pulverized the nearby foliage into dust. The ground cracked open with smoking fissures erupting forth. In an instant, the scene descended into chaos. The Supreme Elder of the Heavenly Sound Sect's face changed dramatically as he cried out, Earth-level sound path technique. You comprehended this from the array-breaking song? Jiang Fan pressed the zither strings to silence it, then packed away the ancient instrument while replying, Exactly. I've named it the Tiger and Dragon Roar Technique. The Heavenly Sound Sect wasted generations hoarding the array-breaking song. They nearly let this hidden Tiger and Dragon Roar technique vanish forever. The Supreme Elders exchanged uneasy glances. Isn't the Heavenly Sound Sect always boasting about requiring exceptional sound path talent to enter? How can an outsider surpass them like this? No one in the entire sect, young or old, could comprehend something so profound. Honestly, I have to admire the Heavenly Sound Sect, an Earth-level sound path technique their own disciples couldn't grasp, and they just gave it away for free. Such generosity, truly noble. Whoosh. The Supreme Elder's face turned crimson. This was utterly humiliating. Xue Wanchong chuckled so wide his mouth seemed to split open. Second Grandma, would you say the Heavenly Sound Sect is full of complete idiots? Even worse than the junior disciples of Green Cloud Sect. The Supreme Elder of the Heavenly Sound Sect wished he could crawl into a hole in the ground, awkwardly coughing multiple times. I don't know anything about this matter. And with that, another figure faced social death. Xue Wanchong seized the opportunity, casting her gaze toward the Supreme Elder of the Desire Sect. The latter puffed out his chest and said confidently, What about the Desire Sect? Embarrassments are common, we don't care about having more of them. The Desire Sect cultivated mental fortitude, and when it came to matters of glory and shame, they were largely indifferent. Jiang Fan reminisced aloud, The Desire Sect, not much of note happened there. Though your sect master's actions truly lack commendation. She tried to force me into joining the Desire Sect. When that failed, she outright issued a warrant for my arrest. Definitely opened my eyes. A few Supreme Elders exchanged stunned looks at the Desire Sect's Supreme Elder. Seriously, could she really resort to issuing a warrant just because she couldn't recruit someone? Sure, the Desire Sect advocates for following one's desires, but this is just unsophisticated. Rather improper. Wouldn't you say? The Desire Sect's Supreme Elder awkwardly replied. Our sect master does act somewhat erratically, but I doubt she'd do such a thing. Otherwise, how could Jiang Fan, a mere junior disciple, escape from her clutches? Still, no matter how detached they were from worldly honor, this was undeniably embarrassing. Jiang Fan grew visibly annoyed upon hearing this. Oh, she tried to catch me all right. She even used Heavenly Mountain Silk. Luckily, I've cultivated movement techniques and managed to slip away. The mention of Heavenly Mountain Silk swayed the crowd's opinion considerably. But for Jiang Fan to claim he escaped directly from the Desire Sect Master, many found it hard to believe. That was until Jiang Fan demonstrated his movement technique, darting through the rear garden with lightning speed, completing a circuit in mere breaths. The Supreme Elders gasped in amazement. What astonishing movement techniques! No wonder the Desire Sect Master couldn't keep up. She must have been furious, right? Trying to forcefully recruit someone, failing to catch them, and even the warrant was a bust. I'd wager she's fuming. Let's warn our juniors, be extra cautious when visiting the Desire Sect. Either cultivate high-level movement techniques or keep a low profile. You might get detained otherwise. The Desire Sect's Supreme Elder offered a wry smile. Exaggeration, sheer exaggeration. It's not as bad as you all make it seem. His previously upright posture sagged significantly. He could no longer lift his head. Xue Wanchong burst out laughing. So Jiang Fan had made waves at the Desire Sect as well. Great, yet another figure suffered social death. Her gaze shifted now to the Supreme Elder of the Myriad Sword Sect. The latter faltered nervously. Jiang Fan hasn't visited the Myriad Sword Sect, right? He thought that their sect handled affairs righteously. Hopefully, there'd be no embarrassing incidents. But given recent examples, he couldn't help feeling anxious. I have. Jiang Fan said with a mild smile, prompting the elder's heart to lurch. Nothing happened, I presume? Jiang Fan replied with a faint grin. The seniors of the Myriad Sword sect were very kind to me. They treated me quite well. Hearing this, the Supreme Elder of the Myriad Sword sect breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, no shame to endure, but the next moment, his face contorted in horror, stiffening like stone. Senior Su Qingyang kindly taught me the sword control technique. Swish. With Jiang Fan's sword heart activated, the Sorrow Frost sword on his back flew out of its sheath. It transformed into a radiant arc piercing the heavens. What? Sword control technique? Wasn't the sword control technique said to be lost within the Myriad Sword sect with no successors? How did this kid manage to learn it? The Supreme Elders gaped in astonishment. The Supreme Elder of the Myriad Sword sect felt faint, his vision darkened. This doesn't make sense. Something's definitely wrong. Our sect's supreme swordsmanship, learned by an outsider, and mastered so effortlessly. If word gets out, people might think the Myriad Sword sect is full of worthless disciples. Xue Wanchong smirked triumphantly. Come now, smile. You're not laughing so freely now, are you? The Supreme Elder of the Myriad Sword sect managed a smile, but it was a bitter one. Where on earth had this prodigy of sword Tao come from? One display of the sword control technique, and the entire Myriad Sword sect had lost its reputation in a single stroke. Chapter 386. Chapter 386 Demon Emperor Secret Realm. Chapter 386. Chapter 386 Demon Emperor Secret Realm. Xue Wanchong burst into hearty laughter. His eyes then turned and fell upon Yu Yingchen, the Supreme Elder of the Thousand Refinement sect. At this moment, Yu shivered and hastily waved his hand with guilt. I didn't laugh. I really didn't laugh just now. It wasn't surprising that he felt guilty. Jiang Fan was currently wielding the Sorrow Frost sword with his sword control technique. Yu recognized it immediately. It was precisely forged by their young sect leader of the Thousand Refinement sect. Heaven knows whether the young sect leader had ever been humiliated by Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan retracted his sword and then remembered, saying, by the way, this sword is called Sorrow Frost. It was. Young brother. Young brother, don't say any more. Yu Yingchen quickly stopped him. I will take good care of Wanchong. Rest assured, you can rest assured. The other Supreme Elders who weren't addressed also showed guilty expressions. Enough, truly enough, don't say any more. If you have business, just go and attend to it. We will take good care of Wanchong. Jiang Fan, having revealed several impressive skills, felt it was enough to intimidate these old men and women. He immediately sheathed his sword, then said, all right, I'll leave Xue Wanchong in your care. Farewell. With that said, he left with hands behind his back, leaving the Supreme Elders staring at each other in astonishment. Xue Wanchong folded his small hands within his sleeves, chuckling. Weren't you all enjoying my embarrassment? Had enough now? The Supreme Elder from the Supreme Sect, embarrassed and angry, said, old woman, you don't play fair. The Supreme Elder from the Heavenly Sound Sect also felt deeply humiliated. You're really mean? Where did you find such a little monster to disgrace us old folks? The Supreme Elder from the Desires Sect wiped his face and wondered, what is up with this little guy? Mastering various divine skills. He even scared me. Yu Yingchen was also astonished. Yes, little dragon. Is this Jiang Fan truly a disciple cultivated by your Green Cloud sect? He really is a humanoid monster. I can't imagine anyone at the same realm being his match. Xue Wanchong laughed heartily again. Jiang Fan had certainly helped her regain much face. You can all envy and be jealous. Xue Wanchong swaggered. Give him time, and sooner or later he will make your 8 sects obediently submit. By then, our Green Cloud sect will unite the 9 sects and dominate the world. Ha, the old men rolled their eyes. Yu Yingchen retorted, unite the 9 sects? If we give the demon race a bit more time, our 9 sects will be trampled flat. He took out a shriveled uterus from his sleeve and threw it on the table. There remained astoundingly dense demon energy on it. A Foundation Establishment Realm cultivator could faint on the spot from being slightly contaminated by it. Xue Wanchong's expression instantly turned solemn, and she couldn't help but withdraw her hand from her sleeve. She frowned gravely. Such strong demon energy, this uterus once bore something with terrifying bloodline. Could it be the offspring of the near-ascended tiger demon from years ago? Yu Yingchen solemnly nodded. Exactly. That divinity transformation realm tiger demon did fall. But within its demon emperor secret realm, a uterus was hiding, nurturing its offspring. The other Supreme Elders immediately turned grave. So this was why Yu Yingchen had summoned the Supreme Elders from all the sects. Indeed, something big had happened. The Supreme that once unified the demon realm had terrified the 9 sects into turmoil. Its offspring, after years of nurture, had been born. No one knew its exact cultivation. But Xianxia revealed a puzzled expression. However, what confuses me is the mode of emergence of this demon emperor's offspring seems rather bizarre. He flipped the uterus over. Only then did everyone notice on the other side of this withered uterus there was a fist-sized hole. The edges bore no marks. It looked like something had bitten through the uterus. Xue Wanchong paused. Do you think that offspring of the demon emperor was eaten by something? The Supreme Elders were all stunned. Even Xianxia was astonished by her wild imagination. Oddly enough, the more he observed, the more plausible it seemed. He showed a strange expression. But what could be so formidable? Although this uterus has shriveled, it still conceals the demonic energy barrier set by the demon race Supreme. What could ignore the existence of the barrier, sneak in, and eat the demon emperor's offspring? This, none of them could answer immediately. However, the Supreme Elder of the Spirit Beast sect hesitated for a moment, then said, "Everyone, to be honest. According to the intelligence from our Spirit Beast sect, the recent large-scale invasion by the demon race was to hunt a mysterious little spiritual beast. Could it be that this little spiritual beast was the one that ate the offspring of the demon emperor?" It made sense why the current demon emperor had launched such a massive beast tide. There was this underlying reason. Xue Wanchong pondered. If the demon race places such importance on that little spiritual beast, it is likely that it not only ate the demon emperor's offspring. It might have taken something from the demon emperor's secret realm. Therefore, the demon race is waging war at all costs to retrieve it. One Supreme Elder's eyes gleamed with intensity. If we find it first, won't this treasure fall into the hands of our 9 sects? Xue Wanchong rolled her eyes and retorted unceremoniously, "Find it. The 9 sects are vast. It would be like searching for a needle in a haystack." True enough. In the vast land, without any clues, finding a spiritual beast would be like fishing for a needle in the ocean. Xianxia nodded. "The purpose of summoning you all isn't to find the demon emperor's offspring or this mysterious little spiritual beast. Rather, since the little spiritual beast could escape from the demon emperor's secret realm, it means the demon emperor's secret realm has opened. That's the real danger." The Supreme Elders were horrified. Only now did they realize the gravity of the situation. If any demon found an opportunity to break through to the demon emperor realm within it, the demon race would instantly have 2 demon emperors. How could the 9 sects defend against that? One must know their heavenly mechanism pavilion's only support was merely at the nascent soul realm. Therefore, I want to invite you all to sneak into the demon race's territory with me. If we can close the secret realm, that would be best. If we can't, at least causing some trouble for the demon race and delaying their entry would still be good. Sneaking into the demon race's territory. The Supreme Elders showed apprehensive expressions. This was no joke. The depths of the demon race's territory were guarded by the demon emperor. If they encountered it, the 9 of them, one by one, would all perish there. Xianxia said, "Of course we won't fight a battle we aren't confident in. We'll wait until the 2 races' war reaches its climax and the demon emperor reaches the front line, then we'll sneak in." Only then did they feel relieved. If that's the case, it would indeed be much safer. Xianxia said, "In the coming days, you all should prepare well. From the current battle situation, the decisive battle is not far off." "What?" Xue Wanchong asked in surprise. "So soon? Not long ago, the front line was still in a seesaw fight. Why has it suddenly become so intense?" Xianxia slightly shook his head, showing a puzzled expression. "I don't understand either. Originally, the western line where the Desire sect is located was also about to experience a massive beast tide. But for some unknown reason, they all withdrew and gathered at the northern battlefront. Their intention is obvious. They plan to concentrate their forces and engage our human clan in a decisive battle." In the midst of their confusion, the Supreme Elder of the Myriad Swords sect, both amused and annoyed, said, "No need to guess. This matter is related to that masked boy and the daughter of the demon emperor." Chapter 387. Chapter 387. Encounter Xianxia again. Chapter 387. Chapter 387. Encounter Xianxia again. Who is the masked boy? And why is he connected to the demon emperor's daughter? Xue Wanchong raised his eyebrows. "Spit it out, don't dawdle. Stop beating around the bush." Can't stand the suspense. The great elder of Myriad Swords sect had a stern expression. "Old hag, watch your mouth. Such vulgar language, a disgrace to decorum." Bang! Suddenly, the ground beneath Xue Wanchong's feet cracked. Two small fists clenched tightly. In his big eyes, flames of rage flared up. It seemed a fight was about to break out over the disagreement. The great elder of myriad swords sect shivered and quickly said, the matter is actually very simple. The fact is, Liu Li, the demon emperor's daughter who was in charge of the western line of demon beasts, suffered a major defeat at the hands of a junior from our human clan. She was forced to abandon the western line of demons and flee back to the demon race. With no leader in the west for the demonic horde and no demon to lead them, they had to retreat to the north. The several supreme elders listened with curiosity. Xue Wanchong skeptically asked, "The demon emperor's daughter suffered a defeat at the hands of a junior from our human clan. She carries the bloodline of the demon emperor and is very powerful. How could she lose to a junior from the human clan?" The great elder of myriad swords sect revealed a playful smile. "Pay attention to my words, she suffered a major defeat. Can you believe it? He took the chastity of the demon emperor's daughter." What? The supreme elders were stunned on the spot. This was shocking news. The dignified demon emperor's daughter, commander of the western line, was defiled by a human clan junior. Yu Yingchen shuddered. How could he manage to touch her? The demon race looks horrific, just touching them is nauseating. And to do that with her? The old men shivered in disgust. You know it, don't say it out loud. You're giving me goosebumps. Based on this alone, I kind of admire the kid. But the great elder of myriad swords sect showed a strange expression. You misunderstood. That demon emperor's daughter was born with a human appearance, almost indistinguishable from our human clan. And she's as beautiful as Liu Qingxian, the first beauty disciple of the 9 sects. The old men were stunned for a moment. They quickly turned livid. The little rascal got lucky. The great elder of myriad swords sect also showed a bit of envy. Shaking his head slightly, he said, "If it were just that, it would be nothing." The kid also robbed her of all her treasures, including the demon race's top-grade magic artifact, the sky-shattering bow. Damn. Took her chastity and her treasures. I thought pulling up your pants and denying everything was bad enough, but he's even worse. The demon emperor's daughter is truly unlucky to run into him. The great elder of myriad swords sect twitched. And there's more. He called in our sect's supreme elder, Su Qingyang, to hunt her down ruthlessly. She nearly lost her life on human clan territory. If it weren't for that sky-devouring tiger protecting her with its life, she would have perished on our land. The supreme elders exchanged glances. Took her body, her treasures, and almost her life. Cleaned her out without leaving anything behind. He is truly heartless. No wonder the demoness dared not return to the western line. Yu Yingchen was stunned. In this case, the demon race's battle is somewhat about avenging the demon emperor's daughter. Has this kid single-handedly changed the battlefield situation? The great elder of myriad swords sect touched his nose. You could say that. The supreme elders fell silent on the spot. They fought fiercely on the front lines, yet the aftermath of a junior's actions had an even greater impact. Xue Wanchong spat lightly. Scumbag. Since the major battle is about to begin, the demon emperor will arrive at the front line shortly. That will be our cue to infiltrate the demon race's territory. Shall we disperse now? Yu Yingchen nodded. Then suddenly remembered something. He slapped his forehead and said, "Oh no, I should have warned Jiang Fan earlier." Xue Wanchong glanced over with curious eyes. Yu Yingchen looked at the Supreme Elder of Desire's sect and said, "To cope with the front lines, several sect masters have already arrived. Among them is the Desire's sect master. If Jiang Fan encounters her..." Jiang Fan knew nothing about this. After settling Xuanchuan, he decisively headed to the giant sect. "I am Jiang Fan, disciple of the Green Cloud sect, here to execute a top-level task." Before he left, Jiang Fan had asked the sect master to assign him a top-level task. The sect master provided several. He chose the most challenging one, interrogate a captured demon king. This demon king was captured alive from the front lines. It held a significant position in the beast tide. The Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion wanted to learn the beast tide's next move through it. They planned to set a trap for the demon race. However, this demon king was extremely defiant and unafraid of torture, refusing to comply even unto death. Unable to succeed, the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion issued an interrogation task with top-level priority. Many had taken on this task, using all kinds of methods to interrogate, but to no avail. It was rumored that even the elders of the Spirit Beast sect had come. But even those skilled in dealing with spirit beasts could not pry open the mouth of this demon king. Another waste of time. The deacon of the task hall, a burly man, showed impatience. hearing about the task of interrogating the Demon King, seeing a Green Cloud sect disciple. His expression turned impatient. The animosity towards the Green Cloud sect was almost blatant. Jiang Fan frowned. Previously, Green Cloud sect and Giant sect were not on good terms. The sudden death of the great elder of Giant sect, Tai Bubai, just outside the Green Cloud sect's border, worsened the relationship. He had anticipated trouble, but this blatant hostility implied how other Green Cloud sect disciples fared with Giant sect. Jiang Fan said nothing. He slapped the task Jade scroll on the table. This task is issued by the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. Will you cooperate or not? The deacon squinted his tiger eyes with a sneer. Are you threatening me? Do you know where this is? Jiang Fan didn't answer. He pulled out paper and pen and began writing a letter. The deacon's eyelid twitched at the contents. It turned out to be a complaint to the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. The complaint accused the Giant sect of resisting the pavilion's tasks and protecting the Demon King, intentions unknown. Aren't you ashamed, writing a complaint so easily? The deacon was furious. Was this exaggerated for a bit of trouble, accusing them of protecting a Demon King with unclear intentions? Who could bear such a serious allegation? Why not directly say the Giant sect is colluding with the demon race? Jiang Fan confidently replied, If the Supreme Sect Master can write complaint letters without feeling ashamed, why should I be afraid? Just then, a nervous Giant sect elder, half-bowed, stammered, Vice Pavilion Master Yun, forgive my lack of proper welcome. I will notify the sect master immediately. They saw an elder in a Taoist robe with an immortal demeanor approaching the task hall steadily. Without turning back, he said, No need. I'm here to retrieve the task ledger. I will leave once I get it. The completed tasks of each sect were tallied monthly, and each disciple's task completion and merit points were published. Now it was exactly 1 month since the tasks were first issued. Yu Yunzi had been ordered to collect the task ledgers from the 9 sects, but as soon as he entered, he heard someone writing a complaint letter and his face turned stern. What was this recent trend? The Supreme Sect Master, feeling a bit wronged, wrote complaints about a junior disciple. Now, a junior disciple wrote a complaint about the Giant sect for a petty matter. If this continued, the complaint mechanism would become a joke. Which sect are you from? Yu Yunzi walked towards the back of the person writing the complaint letter. He might have to use his authority as Vice Pavilion Master to give this disciple a stern lesson today. Chapter 388. Chapter 388 Interrogation of the Demon Kings, Hidden Merits. Chapter 388. Chapter 388 Interrogation of the Demon Kings, Hidden Merits. Upon seeing this, the task hall deacon was terrified, quickly running over. Silently cupped his hands in salute, then obediently stood behind his own elder. He didn't even dare to breathe heavily. Unexpectedly, the merit points at the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion were being calculated personally by a Vice Pavilion Master. It showed how seriously the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion took these merit points. But thinking carefully, it was understandable. Each merit point would be exchanged for wealth from the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion's treasure house. What they were calculating wasn't just merit points, it was the pavilion's money. How could they not take it seriously? What the deacon found rather amusing was, this Vice Pavilion Master seemed to have heard Jiang Fan wanted to write a report letter. He seemed to be displeased, as if he was ready to criticize him. Ha, who do you think you are, trying to write a report letter? The deacon sneered inwardly, as if he had already seen the scene of Jiang Fan about to be scolded. Jiang Fan heard someone calling out to him. He turned his head and was taken aback. Immediately set down the pen in his hand, cupped his hands, and said, Junior Jiang Fan of the Green Cloud Sect greets Vice Pavilion Master you. Jiang Fan. A face full of surprise followed, saying, Why is it you? Jiang Fan smiled and said, Junior is here to perform a level 1 task. Level 1? Inside, Yu Yunzi was secretly amazed. How long had it been, and Jiang Fan had already grown to be able to perform a level 1 task? No wonder he had taken a liking to this young talent. When the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion recruits disciples, no matter what, such an outstanding disciple must be brought in. What task is it? Let me see. Taking up the jade scroll on the table, Yu Yunzi scanned it lightly and showed a look of surprise. Interrogating the Demon King, this task is not easy to complete. At least 10 people have taken this task and failed. You must be careful, the failure of this task will affect your merit ranking. Failure also affects ranking. Jiang Fan looked slightly taken aback. Yu Yunzi said in surprise, Did no one remind you before you took a level 1 task? To prevent certain disciples from occupying high-merit tasks but not performing them seriously, the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion set early rules. If a level 1 task fails, half of this task's merit will be deducted. Jiang Fan clicked his tongue. To put it differently, if you cannot complete the task, you not only get no merit points but also have to compensate half. Was it because his strength was too strong and gave Liu Wuchen and the others the wrong impression that he wouldn't fail? So he wasn't reminded of such important matters at all. With a wry smile, he cupped his hands and said, "Thank you for the reminder, Vice Pavilion Master Yu. However, since this disciple has taken the task, I naturally have some confidence." Seeing this, Yu Yunzi no longer tried to dissuade him, nodding and smiling. "Then you go. I look forward to seeing your name in the merit statistics." Jiang Fan hesitated and said, "Vice Pavilion Master Yu, please wait. Let me finish writing the report letter, and you can take it back to the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion on your way." The corner of Yu Yunzi's mouth twitched. He almost forgot he had wanted to criticize Jiang Fan's improper behavior of writing report letters. But since it's Jiang Fan reporting, could that be called misconduct? That was a righteous act, bravely revealing flaws and defying power, a model behavior. "With me here, do you still need to write a report letter?" Yu Yunzi exuded authority without anger. "What issue do you have? I will handle it on the spot for you." After all, he was one of the 4 Vice Pavilion Masters. Except for matters affecting the 9-sect land, which needed to be discussed with the Pavilion Master. All other matters could be handled by himself. Jiang Fan's eyes lit up. How could a report letter be as efficient as a direct complaint? Immediately, he briefly explained his situation. After listening, Yu Yunzi's expression darkened. He originally thought it was a trivial matter. After understanding, he realized the giant sect's deacon dared to obstruct someone from performing a level 1 task. Every task released by the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion concerned the war between the human clan and the demon race, especially level 1 tasks. They even affected the direction of the battlefield. This was not something to be trifled with. The task of interrogating the Demon King had already failed 10 times with no progress. Even the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion Master had been alarmed, proactively inquiring about the task's situation. If no one could complete it, the task would be taken back. Someone from the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion would be assigned to interrogate directly. But what Yu Yunzi could never have expected was that such an important task, the giant sect was not actively seeking someone to complete it. They were actually obstructing others, not cooperating in execution. "How dare you?" Yu Yunzi's gaze became sharp. He shouted sternly. Not to mention the deacon, even the elder standing beside him shuddered in fear. Turning around, he kicked that deacon to the ground. "Who gave you the courage to obstruct a level 1 task? Do you have a death wish?" the deacon said fearfully, replying to Vice Pavilion Master Yu. It was Jin Zhongming who commanded me not to allow anyone to perform this task for now." Jin Zhongming. Yu Yunzi frowned slightly. This name he had heard even at the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion, because he was second only to Xia Caoj among the 9-sect land's prodigies, the current chief disciple of the giant sect. One of the Vice Pavilion Masters had already declared intent to take him as a disciple. Jiang Fan also showed a look of surprise. A famed person casts a long shadow. Living in the 9th sect, how could he have not heard of Jin Zhongming? No wonder this deacon would cause trouble. Jin Zhongming's status was not lower than some elders of the giant sect. His words, the deacon before him dared not go against. Yu Yunzi looked at Jiang Fan and asked, "Do you still want to perform this task?" His tone was no longer as intense as before, because he needed to consider Jiang Fan's situation. If he used his status as Vice Pavilion Master to force the task to be performed, there would naturally be no problem. Even the Vice Pavilion Master behind Jin Zhongming would have nothing to say. The issue was, he would leave afterwards. Jiang Fan would end up offending Jin Zhongming. Before the beast tide ended, Jiang Fan would likely have to remain within the giant sect's territory. If he were to be retaliated against by Jin Zhongming, however, what Yu Yunzi never expected was Jiang Fan's response. "Why would Vice Pavilion Master you say such a thing?" He looked bewildered. Could it be that Yu Yunzi was also afraid of Jin Zhongming? Yu Yunzi kindly reminded, "As far as I know, Jin Zhongming has a bad temper." So he was worried about being bullied. Jiang Fan smiled and said, "Which one in the giant sect has a good temper? Did I not offend their sect master as well? A mere chief disciple, what does it matter?" Yu Yunzi clicked his tongue. "No, you are just a junior disciple. How did you manage to offend the giant sect master as well?" However, his admiration for Jiang Fan only grew. As a martial artist without some fighting spirit, you couldn't go far. Since you say so, this Vice Pavilion Master will accompany you. I also want to see just how tough this Demon King's mouth is. Yunzi nodded slightly. Finishing, he coldly looked at the deacon kneeling on the ground. Still not leading the way? The deacon, terrified, repeatedly said, "Yes, yes, yes." He hurriedly led Yunzi and Jiang Fan towards the giant sect's prison. That elder, feeling something was wrong, hastily headed to the sect master hall. At this moment, the giant sect master Kong Yuanba was smiling and hosting an old woman sitting in the chief's seat. Her hair was white, but her skin looked as rosy and glossy as a 30-year-old's. A pair of deeply aged eyes filled with wisdom. "Vice Hall Master Gu, thank you for your reminder. We would have never known the Demon King held such significant secrets. This advantage almost fell into someone else's hands." Kong Yuanba repeatedly cupped his hands, extremely grateful. The old woman in front of him was none other than Gu Huaxi, one of the 4 Vice Pavilion Masters of the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. She was also the Vice Pavilion Master who had declared intent to take Jin Zhongming as a disciple. This time, she came specifically to notify the giant sect that the task of interrogating the Demon King carried immense merit, if Jin Zhongming were to obtain it. The Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion would surely reward him greatly. Gu Huaxi lightly nodded and said, "In doing so, I am breaking the rules. If word spreads, I will be scrutinized." Kong Yuanba understandingly said, "Rest assured, Vice Pavilion Master Gu, we didn't know you came to the giant sect." Seeing his understanding, Gu Huaxi felt slightly reassured and said, "Notify Jin Zhongming to return to the sect as soon as possible and handle this beast. This is as much as I can help him. Farewell." But just at that moment, the elder hurriedly reported, "Sect Master, a disciple from the Green Cloud sect is heading to interrogate the Demon King." Kong Yuanba frowned. Who allowed this? Didn't Jin Zhongming send a message to the task hall instructing that no one should perform this task until he returns? Moreover, a disciple from the Green Cloud sect? Anger flashed in his eyes. Chapter 389. Chapter 389. Little Cutie, Chapter 389. Chapter 389. Little Cutie, the other sect's disciples performing this task would not be allowed, let alone those from the Green Cloud sect. The 2 sects have always been at odds. Moreover, a disciple from the Green Cloud sect had recently defeated Kong Wushwang, a favored disciple of the giant sect, using body technique, bringing shame upon the giant sect. Following that, a great elder had died tragically at the border between the 2 sects. Although there was no evidence, there was no doubt it was the work of the Green Cloud sect. The feud between the 2 sects had long been established. Now letting a disciple from the Green Cloud sect handle such a task, outrageous. The deacon of the task hall must be out of his mind. The elder hurriedly clasped his hands and said, "Reporting to the sect master, this disciple from the Green Cloud sect has the backing of the Vice Pavilion Master from the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. How dare we stop him?" Kong Yuanba's expression changed slightly, and he couldn't help but look at Gu Huaxi. The latter also showed a puzzled look. "I haven't heard of any Vice Pavilion Master having good relations with the Green Cloud sect." Gu Huaxi stood up with the aid of a dragon-coiling staff and said, "Which Vice Pavilion Master?" The elder cautiously replied, "It's Yunzi, Vice Pavilion Master Yu." Gu Huaxi was even more perplexed. Why would it be him? The last time he visited the Green Cloud sect after informing them of the beast tide, he never mentioned them again. It seemed as if the Green Cloud sect had offended him. Why would he suddenly help a disciple from the Green Cloud sect? Instinct told her that Yunzi must have discovered something at the Green Cloud sect last time. Thus, he kept it a secret and never mentioned the Green Cloud sect. This piqued her curiosity. After contemplating for a moment, she said, "We've been old friends for so many years. Since we met, it's only right to greet each other. Let's go, take me to see." Kong Yuanba sighed in relief. If Jiang Fan had Yunzi's backing, he wouldn't dare obstruct Jiang Fan's interrogation of the Demon King even with 100-fold courage. Now with Gu Huaxi stepping in, things would be much easier. The dungeon of the giant sect. It was originally a cage for imprisoning evil and extreme criminals. Nowadays, it was empty, transformed into a specialized cell for imprisoning the Beast King. Fortunately, the people of the giant sect were all relatively robust, so the dungeon was built larger than usual. Otherwise, it would indeed be impossible to fit a live Beast King inside. Even so, when Jiang Fan saw the Beast King, he could feel how miserable it was at the moment. In the deepest part of the dungeon, on a colossal stone pillar that would take 10 people to encircle, a demon wolf covered in gray fur was tightly bound by a dozen thick black chains. It was 10 zhang long, its legs bent, almost kneeling on the ground, unable to stand up, because its head was already pushing against the top. This posture, unable to stand straight, unable to kneel, was simply torturous. Hearing the commotion, its ears moved. In its weary slumber, it suddenly opened its gigantic eyes, emitting 2 ferocious beams of light. It let out a roar filled with foul wind. Jiang Fan was astonished. After all these interrogations, it's still so fierce. Its bones are indeed as hard as iron. No wonder so many have failed to interrogate it. Yunzi, with his arms behind his back, looked puzzled. No matter how fierce a demon beast is, it is still made of flesh and blood. Previous captured demon beasts never showed such stubbornness. After a round of torment, they all behaved obediently. Why is this one so defiant? He paused for a moment. He looked at Jiang Fan and said worriedly, "It won't be easy to pry open its mouth." He feared that Jiang Fan would end up like his predecessors, ended with merit points deducted. Jiang Fan stroked his chin and said, "I have my own way." He subtly raised his sleeve. The black mirror hidden within silently shone on the Beast King. Then, indistinct mutterings filled Jiang Fan's mind. It turned out to be the demon language. Almost forgot that the interrogation target was a demon. He needed someone proficient in the demon language to assist. But that wasn't a problem for Jiang Fan either. He patted the little Killin snoring in his arms. Time to work, for some reason. The little Killin seemed to be getting more and more lethargic. It used to constantly clamor for spirit pills, but now it simply slept all the time and didn't even ask for spirit pills. Could it be sick? Awu, the little Killin stretched out a long yawn, its yawn echoing in Jiang Fan's mind. Suddenly, it mumbled, "Master, why is someone cursing you? It said you were skinny like a twig, too thin to pick its teeth with, and you have the nerve to come and interrogate it." Jiang Fan's face turned black and he replied telepathically, "Don't pay attention to that impolite creature. From now on, listen carefully to what it says. Translate any information about the beast tied for me. Forget all the other stuff." He and the little Killin shared a soul. The thoughts of the demon wolf, heard by Jiang Fan, were also audible to the little Killin. With the little Killin as his translator, there was no fear of not understanding the demon wolf. Yes, it's cursing again. Oh, it's cursing badly, my ears are polluted." Jiang Fan's face grew sullen. The damn thing cursing before being interrogated, such an uncouth creature. "Jiang Fan, how do you intend to interrogate it?" Seeing Jiang Fan so confident, Yunzi became curious. Could it be that Jiang Fan really had a unique method? Would it make the demon wolf submit? Jiang Fan didn't say a word. He came before the demon wolf, ensuring its hands and feet were securely bound without any chance to retaliate. Then he unceremoniously lifted his palm and slapped it across the mouth. Yunzi was taken aback. Slap its mouth? Such a straightforward interrogation technique, but what harm could that do to the demon wolf? The demon wolf was covered in wounds. With its mid-stage core formation realm, the severe scars on its body suggested it had already endured extreme torture. Would a mere slap do any good? The demon wolf was stunned for a moment, then its eyes revealed a sardonic smile, and it began grumbling. At the same time, the little Killin translated in Jiang Fan's mind. "Twig, are you scratching an itch? Why are you acting like a woman much gentler than the previous ones?" Jiang Fan chuckled softly. Without a word, he raised his palm again, but this time his palm glowed in vivid colors and a purple shine. His slap was far from ordinary. In an instant, the demon wolf seemed to sense something and let out an ear-piercing wail. "Hiss! It hurts, it hurts! What did you do to me?" The spot on its mouth where it was slapped began to swell rapidly and turn black, even though it was a mid-stage core formation demon king. It couldn't withstand the toxins of the 7-colored poison toad and the poison dragon bone marrow. Then, Jiang Fan proceeded to slap a few of its wounds. Each slapped area decayed rapidly. The pain caused the demon wolf to howl miserably. After a few more slaps, the demon wolf's gaze toward Jiang Fan changed entirely. It no longer dared to curse aloud. It resorted to cursing in its mind. Where did this little pervert come from? How does he possess the toxins of the 7-colored poison toad? Unbelievable. Just as the thought formed, the little Killin instantly translated. "Master, it called you a little pervert." Jiang Fan raised his palm again and slapped it once more. The demon wolf convulsed in pain, wailing incoherently. "Master, it says it didn't curse you. Why hit it?" Jiang Fan, with his hands behind his back, said indifferently. Cursing in your mind counts too. The demon wolf's eyes widened in astonishment, wondering, can you read my mind? You little, seeing Jiang Fan raise his palm again. It quickly spoke in garbled tones. Don't hit, don't hit. I called you cute. Chapter 390. Chapter 390. Is the she-wolf beautiful? Chapter 390. Chapter 390. Is the she-wolf beautiful? Pa! Another vicious slap. The poison made the demon wolf wish it were dead. It let out an incredibly fierce howl. All along, it was the sect disciples who had been interrogating it. Their strength was limited, and even if they used torture, the damage to it was minimal. Most of it was just itching, and a small part could only tear its skin without harming the bones. But this little pervert in front of it was different. Every slap made it feel like it was dying. It was more unbearable than all the previous tortures combined. But this stirred its ferocity, and it roared fiercely, "Why don't you just poison me to death? Even if I die, I won't reveal any secrets." The translation was provided by Little Killin. Jiang Fan said coolly, "You misunderstand. Giving you a few slaps is just to make your mouth clean. To learn your secrets, there's no need for such lowly interrogation methods. I only need to ask, and you will tell me." The demon wolf endured the severe pain, showing a sneering expression, and growled. "Then give it a try." Standing beside him, Yunzi was also a bit puzzled. No interrogation, just questioning, and this fierce demon wolf would obediently comply. Jiang Fan, with his hands behind his back, said, "What is your status within the demon race?" The demon wolf opened its mouth and laughed heartily. Little Killin translated, "It's saying, 'Guess, you little cutie.' In its heart it says, 'Deputy Captain of the Royal Guard Team, Golden Claw Iron Wolf is here. You puny human don't think you can get any information out of me. I, Golden Claw Iron Wolf, swear to be eternally loyal to the royal family." As soon as the thought in its mind ended, Jiang Fan slightly nodded, saying, "Golden Claw Iron Wolf, let me ask you, since you are with the Royal Guard team, why are you at the front line? Is it possible that a member of the demon royal family has arrived at the front line? Is it the daughter of the demon emperor, Liu Li?" The demon wolf's expression froze. Its wolf eyes gradually widened, and it gurgled in its mouth. It's saying out loud, "Ah, how do you know I didn't say anything?" In its heart, it's saying, "It's over. Has the demon emperor's concubine's presence at the front line been exposed? Which bastard did this? I'm going to tear this traitor apart." There was a lot of information. Jiang Fan took out paper and pen, recording it. Royal Guard Team Deputy Captain Golden Claw Iron Wolf. Confession of the first piece of intelligence. The demon emperor's concubine secretly arrived at the front line. The demon wolf glanced at Jiang Fan's record, and its eyes widened again. It could recognize some human characters. It howled repeatedly, "It wasn't me who confessed. You're slandering me, you're slandering me." Jiang Fan put down the pen and asked again, "What is the purpose of the demon emperor's concubine coming to the front line?" Golden Claw Iron Wolf opened its mouth. This time it got smart and promptly shut its mouth, sneering in its heart. "I won't say anything this time. I don't believe you can guess that the demon emperor's concubine came to deliver the demon emperor's essence blood to temporarily boost several demon kings' combat power and catch the human experts off guard." Little Killin provided the synchronous translation. Jiang Fan nodded, picked up his pen, and continued writing. Confession of the second piece of intelligence. The demon emperor secretly delivered his essence blood to the front-line demon kings to break the stalemate. Ah. Golden Claw Iron Wolf's eyes almost popped out, stuttering, "Who the hell told you this? Don't pin this on me, I have nothing to do with it." Clearly, it was other demon traitors who betrayed the demon race's secrets. Why put the blame on it? It couldn't even imagine how the demon emperor would deal with it if he misunderstood. At the very least, it would be deep-fried 99 times over, right? Jiang Fan nodded contentedly. A casual interrogation revealed a piece of explosive information. The demon emperor's essence blood, without doubt, greatly enhanced the strength of the demon beasts. If human experts were caught off guard, the demon king's sudden surge in power, the consequences would be unimaginable. At worst, the human defense line would collapse on the spot. Then, the beast tide would surge like a flood, sweeping across the entire nine-sect land. At that time, even if human experts came out in full force, it would be too late to save themselves. Of course, this was not enough yet. This demon wolf didn't seem too smart. It could still reveal lots of useful information. "Let me ask you again, where is the demon emperor's concubine right now?" The demon wolf was terrified by the question. It kept banging its head against the stone pillar, trying to knock itself out. Master, it's saying in its heart, I can't say it, or else I'll become a demon traitor. Concubine, please run, don't stay in the valley of the dead, the humans are onto you. Another crucial piece of information. Jiang Fan wrote it down. Confession of the third piece of intelligence. The demon emperor's concubine is hiding in the valley of the dead. The demon wolf saw it clearly, scared out of its wits, and kept howling incessantly. Oh my God, it truly wasn't me who said it. Who will testify for me I'm really not a demon traitor? Suddenly, the demon wolf's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that he can read my thoughts? Little Killin promptly reminded. Jiang Fan, however, didn't mind at all, saying, It's better if it knows. Immediately he asked again, What's the name of this demon emperor's concubine? What does she look like? The demon wolf kept banging its head against the stone pillar, trying to knock itself out quickly. In its heart it kept chanting, can't think, this boy might be able to read my thoughts. If I think of concubine Xianxia, her information will be exposed. Meanwhile, Little Killin gestured in Jiang Fan's mind. Concubine Xianxia has 9 long tails. Her figure and appearance are very similar to humans. Loves to wear white, very beautiful, and has a gentle and pleasant voice. Her strength is formidable. She has reached the late stage of core formation. Jiang Fan nodded, writing it down. Confession of the fourth piece of intelligence. Concubine Xianxia has 9 tails, a remarkable appearance, and her cultivation is at the late stage of core formation. After recording, Jiang Fan sincerely thanked the demon wolf, reaching out and shaking its wolf claw. Deputy Captain Golden Claw Iron Wolf, thank you for your great cooperation. You have earned our human clan's friendship and contributed to our victory over the beast tide, establishing immortal merit. I will apply to the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion to award you the Human Clan Honor Medal, to commend your outstanding contributions. Golden Claw Iron Wolf shook his hand off in terror, eyes showing a pleading look, whimpering. I didn't do it. I am devoted to the demon race, born of the demon race, and I will die for the demon race. Jiang Fan smiled. Turning to Yunzi, he said, Senior, please inform the giant sect to treat this demon wolf well. Make sure it's provided with good food and drink. Now that the war between the two races is imminent, we humans need to set an example of a demon race surrendering, to show those demons how comfortable it is to surrender to us. Yunzi laughed. You kid, your idea is in line with our pavilion master's thoughts. We indeed have been looking for an example lately. Since this Golden Claw Iron Wolf is so cooperative, we can do it this way. Hearing this, Golden Claw Iron Wolf growled furiously. The demon race will never be slaves. Better to die than submit. Jiang Fan glanced at its battered body, saying, Besides food and drink, take good care of it. Later, I'll ask the Spirit Beast Sect Master for a few female wolves to take good care of it. Golden Claw Iron Wolf continued to roar. I don't want your human food and drink, I don't want your female wolves. Wait, female wolves? Are they pretty? Oh, what am I thinking? You little cutie, you are shameless, despicable, lewd, you are ruining my loyalty. Jiang Fan rolled his eyes at him. He sorted out the interrogation's data, saying, Vice Pavilion Master you, the interrogation is finished. I'll go to the task hall to submit my task. You take this confidential information and report it to the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion Master. If we delay, it might cause a disaster. Oh, Yunzi was surprised. What kind of confidential information needed to alarm the Pavilion Master? Is it necessary? But after he glanced at the content on the documents, he couldn't help but be stunned. Chapter 391. Chapter 391. This kid is so-so. Chapter 391. Chapter 391. This kid is so-so. The Demon Emperor's concubine has arrived at the front lines. After confirming he hadn't made a mistake, Yunzi was overcome by both anger and shock. Well done, Demon Emperor. You dare to break the pact you made with our Pavilion Master. The Demon Emperor and the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion Master were both beings at the nascent soul level. When they fought, it resulted in innumerable casualties. No one wanted the other side to participate directly in the battlefield. Thus, there was an unspoken agreement that neither would show themselves unless it came to the final decisive battle. But who could have foreseen the Demon Emperor secretly playing tricks, distributing his own demonic emperor blood to the front lines for use? Imagine the dire consequences if the human experts were unaware of this. Jiang Fan, you've made a huge contribution, Yunzi said uneasily. The Pavilion Master will surely reward you heavily for this. Jiang Fan's gaze remained calm as he said, Without lips, teeth grow cold. I did my part only because I wish to avoid calamities affecting me if a beast tide overwhelms us in the future. As for rewards, they're unnecessary. I just request that the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion handle this matter properly." Yunzi quietly felt deep admiration. This kid truly lived up to his expectations, remaining composed even in the face of rewards from the Pavilion Master. It was common knowledge that a single word from the Pavilion Master could change the destiny of an ordinary person. Inwardly, Yunzi was gratified to think that only he had recognized Jiang Fan's talents. When the time came, even if it meant paying a great price, he would bring Jiang Fan under his wing and cultivate him properly. Tap, tap, tap. Suddenly, a series of rapid footsteps echoed. Yunzi looked up and frowned, saying, "Vice Pavilion Master Gu?" His face filled with surprise. Why was Gu Huexi here? Isn't she supposed to be on standby for her tasks? The sight of the golden claw iron wolf riddled with scorched wounds made Gu Huexi's heart sink slightly. She asked, "Vice Pavilion Master Yu, how is the interrogation coming along?" Yunzi, without betraying emotion, tucked away the intelligence materials into his robes and responded, "Quite fruitful. I was just about to report to the Pavilion Master now." These words made Gu Huexi instinctively feel uneasy. Could it be that the golden claw iron wolf truly revealed crucial intelligence? If so, didn't that completely nullify Jin Zhangming's opportunity for merit? Her special trip here, was it entirely useless? "Wait," Gu Huexi stopped him abruptly, saying, "Vice Pavilion Master Yu, isn't interrogating such matters a task meant for disciples? Isn't it inappropriate for someone of your rank to meddle in this?" Yunzi narrowed his eyes. "Shouldn't I be the one asking that question? The beast tide is raging, and yet Vice Pavilion Master Gu isn't stationed at the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. Why come to the giant sect? And you're awfully invested in the interrogation of this demon king." He didn't finish the sentence. When he felt the weight of the intelligence tucked inside his robes, sudden clarity struck. So that was why Jin Zhangming forbade others from executing this interrogation. It must be because Gu Huexi knew something and intended for her favored disciple Jin Zhangming to gain his achievements here. Thus, she made this special trip to give him a reminder. Yunzi's brows furrowed tightly as he said, "Vice Pavilion Master Gu, I understand your love for your disciple. But you nearly caused great disaster." He shuddered to think what might have happened if he weren't present to stand firm, or if Jiang Fan didn't have the brilliant methods to extract intelligence. What would have been the consequences? At minimum, before Jin Zhangming returned, no one would have been able to interrogate this demon wolf. After his return, it still wouldn't guarantee a successful interrogation. By the time he gave up and passed the task to others, an untold amount of time would have elapsed. By then, the curtain may have fallen irreparably. The shock troops at the front lines would come face to face with demon kings empowered by consuming demonic emperor blood, their abilities surging. Suddenly, an unstoppable collapse in the war lines might ensue. "A great disaster! Aren't you exaggerating this far too much?" Gu Huexi snorted coldly, her nostrils flaring ever so slightly. What was wrong with helping her disciple achieve recognition? Surely it's not as dramatic as he claimed. Yunzi withdrew the intelligence. Avoiding the giant sect master's eyes, he stealthily showed Gu Huexi a glimpse. Right away, her gaze landed on several elegantly written lines. However, the contents shocked her deeply. "The Demon Emperor's concubine?" The Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion Master made a silencing gesture and sternly growled, "Do you intend to disclose even this too?" Gu Huexi immediately fell silent, yet the shock painted across her face lingered, refusing to dissipate. Instantly, she understood the gravity of the great disaster Yunzi referred to. By a hair's breadth, she could have been branded the criminal responsible for catastrophe in this crucial battle. Beads of cold sweat rolled down her forehead. If today's events were conveyed back to the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion, severe punishment from the Pavilion Master would be inescapable. "Consider it as though you were never here today, but don't let there be a next time." Yunzi didn't seem intent on making things overly difficult for her. Gu Huexi forced a stiff smile and nodded appreciatively, saying, "I'll remember this favor. It's truly fortunate you personally conducted the interrogation today." Her expression carried a hint of sheepishness. Gone were the righteous tones she'd displayed earlier. "You've misunderstood. Since this was a task meant for the disciples, how could I meddle here? This intelligence was solely extracted by this disciple of Green Cloud Sect, Jiang Fan." Yunzi clarified. Gu Huexi looked at Jiang Fan, who had kept silent all this time, with an incredulous gaze. "Kid, Was it really you who did the interrogation? Gu Huexi examined Jiang Fan from head to toe. He looked scholarly and refined, not at all like someone capable of intimidating the Golden Claw Iron Wolf. At that moment, the Golden Claw Iron Wolf let out guttural roars, furiously thrashing and causing its chains to clatter noisily. "What's it saying?" Gu Huexi asked. A deacon familiar with the demon race's language had been summoned by the giant sect master. He observed Jiang Fan with a perplexing expression and said, "It's yelling, 'I'm not a demon traitor, kill me now.' That adorable kid's information wasn't something I gave away." Upon hearing this, Gu Huexi had no choice but to believe it. So it really was Jiang Fan who had conducted the interrogation. In that case, the Golden Claw Iron Wolf wasn't as impossible to interrogate as previously rumored. Jiang Fan casually managed to get results. If Jin Zhongming had taken the task, it would have been even easier. This kid lucked out, no doubt about it. Feeling this way, Gu Huexi couldn't help glaring at the Golden Claw Iron Wolf, grumbling, "Spineless creature." The Golden Claw Iron Wolf, hearing those words, grew indignant. It snarled viciously, "Old woman, have the guts to interrogate me yourself. If I utter even one word, consider it your victory," the deacon cautiously translated. Gu Huexi sneered upon hearing this. "Even a disciple could easily pry out intelligence from you. Do you think you could handle my methods?" As she spoke, she raised the dragon-coiling staff in her hand and pointed from a distance at the Golden Claw Iron Wolf's chest. Bang! A bloody hole burst open. The Golden Claw Iron Wolf shrieked miserably, wailing louder, "Too weak, old woman. You think such pitiful means can subdue the demon race's most loyal wolf? Dream on." It felt deeply remorseful for leaking intelligence to Jiang Fan. Now it was vowing to prove its loyalty by any means necessary, before the stigma of being a demon traitor could solidify. Gu Huexi's face grew cold as she barked, "Audacious creature!" She unleashed successive blows, each more ruthless than the last, reducing the demon wolf to anguished howls. The unbearable sounds made everyone grit their teeth in unease. It wasn't hard to imagine the pain being inflicted. Yet the Golden Claw Iron Wolf remained resolutely defiant. Even as it lay unconscious on the brink of death, its rebellious spirit remained intact. Gu Huexi couldn't help feeling a little humiliated, assuming that since Jiang Fan had handled the interrogation with ease, she, a vice pavilion master, would naturally find it effortless. Who could have guessed that her full arsenal of techniques amounted to nothing? What's going on here?" Gu Huexi's face burned with embarrassment. Yunzi's lips curled smugly as he remarked, "If brute force had worked on this demon king, the intelligence would have been extracted long ago. Jiang Fan used a mysterious method, one even I couldn't comprehend, to succeed in obtaining the information." Only now did Gu Huexi realize. She had underestimated Jiang Fan. Unable to resist reconsidering, she stared at him and said, "You've got some skills. What's your prowess in martial arts?" she asked casually. This single question made Yunzi regret speaking. Why did he boast about Jiang Fan's abilities? Now that Gu Huexi understood Jiang Fan's potential, wouldn't that mean he had gained another rival to contend with him? He quickly interjected in haste, "Average at best. The boy is ordinary at best." Chapter 392. Chapter 392, A Fox on the Mountain. Chapter 392. Chapter 392, A Fox on the Mountain. Gu Huexi showed a look of confusion. She was just casually asking Jiang Fan. Why was Yunzi eager to answer? Could it be that he was worried she would appreciate Jiang Fan's interrogation skills and try to compete for him? She chuckled and said, "Vice Pavilion Master you, if you like this boy, you can keep him. I wouldn't be so out of line as to snatch a good disciple when I see one." Silently, she added a few lines in her heart. "I wouldn't be that short-sighted to accept any disciple. He only has some special interrogation skills, and I've never even heard of his name, which means he's quite ordinary. I wouldn't bother taking such a disciple." Upon hearing this, Yunzi felt relieved. Indeed, they were all vice pavilion masters. No one would be shameless enough to snatch disciples. "Please forgive me, Vice Pavilion Master Gu. Jiang Fan is a friend's child, so I want to take care of him," Yunzi said with a wry smile. Gu Huexi snorted. "So an appointed disciple is an appointed disciple. Why find such a grandiose excuse? They're all foxes on the same mountain, and you're telling me ghost stories. Now that this matter is settled, let's return to the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion as soon as possible," Gu Huexi said. Behind her, the giant sect master Kong Yuanba became anxious. From the reactions of both of them, the intelligence, Jiang Fan extracted from the interrogation was extremely shocking. If it's crucial, the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion Master might give a heavy reward. Such a good thing benefiting a disciple of the Green Cloud sect. And it was that Jiang Fan who defeated his nephew, causing him to lose face. Vice Pavilion Master Gu, are we just letting this go? Kong Yuanba asked. Gu Huexi gave him a cold glance and said, what else would you suggest? You saw me interrogate this demon just now. Even if Jin Zhongming returns, I fear he would be helpless. Jiang Fan obtained the intelligence through his own skills. No one can say anything. Having said this, what else could Kong Yuanba do even if he was reluctant? This kid was infuriating, managing to cling on to Yu Yunzi. Otherwise, he would have done something to secure this merit for his cherished disciple Jin Zhongming. A group of people left the prison. They were met by a panting disciple. Sect Master Xue Wanchong is back. Kong Yuanba, who was somewhat irritated, finally felt a bit relieved and said, he has finally fulfilled his wish with a chance to enhance his ancient giant bloodline. Gu Huexi's eyes shifted slightly, feeling a sense of regret. In fact, she had once thought of appointing Xue Wanchong. But his ancient giant bloodline didn't have a good reputation historically. With such concerns, she refrained from expressing her intent to accept him as a disciple. Upon suddenly hearing that Xue Wanchong could enhance his ancient giant bloodline, she couldn't help but feel intrigued. If he enhanced his bloodline, it might make his physique even stronger than Jin Zhongming's. Reporting to Master, senior brother Xue is injured, reported the disciple cautiously. Kong Yuanba's expression hardened. Injured, quickly take me to him. As the second-ranked disciple of the giant sect, he was also a precious gem to Kong Yuanba. Gu Huexi and Yu Yunzi exchanged glances. This was an internal matter of the giant sect, not something they should interfere with. Just as they were about to take their leave, Kong Yuanba said, Vice Pavilion Masters, since you're here, why not meet my disciple? If you have any guidance on enhancing his bloodline, this sect master would be most grateful. Gu Huexi couldn't offer any guidance on bloodline enhancement, but was very interested in the enhanced Xue Wanchong. Yu Yunzi had also heard of the ancient giant bloodline. Since it was a rare opportunity, seeing him could satisfy their curiosity. I shall take my leave. Jiang Fan, being considerate, cupped his hands and bid farewell, even though Xue Wanchong's poison injury had nothing to do with him. But understanding the giant sect as he did, they would likely blame it on him. Better to avoid trouble. Hey, you should come with me too, to broaden your knowledge. Yu Yunzi insisted, saying, the ancient giant bloodline has a storied history. Missing this chance, you might not see it again. Jiang Fan was exasperated. I've not only seen it, but I've also fought it. But he couldn't refuse Yu Yunzi's kindness. Besides, he figured the giant sect wouldn't dare harm him with Yu Yunzi present. So, he reluctantly agreed. The group arrived at the sect master hall. Xue Wanchong stood there with his hands behind his back. It had to be said. His ancient giant bloodline granted enviable recovery abilities. In just 5 days, his shocking poison injuries had almost completely healed. The once severely burned skin now only had faint scorch marks. The pair of hands once corroded to the bone by the 7-colored poison mist had also mostly recovered. Only some skin still oozed blood. Master! Xue Wanchong bowed his head in shame upon seeing Kong Yuanba. Kong Yuanba rushed forward to check his injuries, and his voice turned cold. Who did this? Clearly, he intended to exact severe revenge on the perpetrator. Xue Wanchong wanted to vent his frustrations, but had no one to blame for his poison injuries. It happened when I was retrieving the 7-colored mysterious ice, and I got caught off guard. Realizing he was to blame, the ferocity on Kong Yuanba's face eased, though he still blamed. What was Lu Ziyunian doing? If anything happens to my disciple, I'll hold him accountable. From the back of the crowd, Jiang Fan rolled his eyes. Xue Wanchong wanted to go himself. He should bear the risk. Blaming others for it was ridiculous. The domineering nature of the giant sect was consistent from top to bottom. Where is the 7-colored mysterious ice? Let me and the Vice Pavilion Masters have a look. Kong Yuanba had an expectant look. Even he had never seen the 7-colored mysterious ice. Xue Wanchong, ashamed, said, I failed to retrieve the 7-colored mysterious ice. What? Kong Yuanba looked surprised. That's impossible with your ancient giant bloodline. Entering regular poison mist should be as easy as taking something out of a bag. How did you fail? Xue Wanchong defended. I was careless. In that poison mist, there was a powerful 7-colored poison toad and a cunning fog demon. They placed liquefied 7-colored poison mist beneath the 7-colored mysterious ice. When I was retrieving the mysterious ice, I got caught off guard. Fortunately, I reacted quickly and escaped, barely saving my life. Seven-colored poison toad. Kong Yuanba was slightly shocked. It's a ferocious beast. Even ordinary elders would be extremely endangered. You returning alive shows you're excellent. Take your time to heal properly and prepare well. I will accompany you to personally retrieve the seven-colored mysterious ice. Gu Huaxi and Yu Yunzi were also slightly surprised. Who would have thought that such a fearsome creature appears in the heartland of the human clan, the seven-colored mine? This beast was beyond Xue Wanchong's capabilities. Coming back alive was already a stroke of fortune, but Xue Wanchong looked unnatural and said, "There's no need to go again. The seven-colored mysterious ice has already been taken." What? That was the key to Xue Wanchong enhancing his bloodline. Kong Yuanba was shocked. Didn't you say there was a seven-colored poison toad and a poison mist outbreak? Who could have gone in? Could it be Zai Liushu from the Desire sect? Within the 9-sect territory, only 2 were skilled at handling poison. It's easy to guess. Xue Wanchong clenched his fists and said unwillingly, "If it were Zai Liushu, I would accept it. He's the chief of the Desire sect. Losing to him is not shameful. But the one who took the seven-colored mysterious ice was a young disciple of the Green Cloud sect." Green Cloud sect again. Kong Yuanba smirked in anger. Were the Green Cloud sect disciples addicted to stealing the giant sect disciples' merits? Why were they everywhere? Who is it? To their surprise, Xue Wanchong gritted his teeth and said, "Who else? It's that annoying Jiang Fan." Who? Jiang Fan. The 3 of them turned to look behind them at the silent and seemingly obedient Jiang Fan. Chapter 393. Chapter 393. You have no face with me. Chapter 393. Chapter 393. You have no face with me. Xue Wanchong was also attracted by their unusual behavior. Looking in the direction of their gaze, he saw Jiang Fan, who was half hidden by Yu Yunzi, and immediately flew into a rage, shouting, "How dare you come to my giant sect? This is outrageous." He took his seven-colored mysterious ice, not hiding far away. And he even dared to come to the giant sect. This was an outright provocation. He rolled up his sleeves and took large strides forward. Yu Yunzi glanced at Kong Yuanba indifferently and said, "Sect Master Kong, what does your disciple want to do?" Kong Yuanba's heart skipped a beat. Jiang Fan had clung to Yu Yunzi, and he was not an ordinary disciple of the Green Cloud sect who could be bullied at will. "Wanchong, what are you doing?" Kong Yuanba reprimanded lightly. "Vice Pavilion Master Yu is present, do not be rude." Only then did Xue Wanchong realize that this Vice Pavilion Master of the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion was actually protecting Jiang Fan. He quickly stopped, but there was not much fear, because another Vice Pavilion Master Gu was inclined towards the giant sect. Moreover, he seemed to have considerable interest in his ancient giant bloodline. "Master Jiang Fan took my seven-colored mysterious ice. I was impulsive, but it is understandable. I beg for your forgiveness, Master." Kong Yuanba nodded, then looked at Jiang Fan and said coldly, "Can the seven-colored mysterious ice be spared? This stone is of significant importance to my disciple." That large piece of seven-colored mysterious ice could not be used entirely by Jiang Fan alone. If he could exchange it for something he wanted, it would be worth considering. "That depends on Sect Master Kong's sincerity." Jiang Fan expressed his willingness to trade. Kong Yuanba raised his eyebrows. "You must be mistaken. You took the seven-colored mysterious ice from my disciple. Returning it to its rightful owner is your duty. Are you suggesting that I need to trade something to get it back?" "What?" Jiang Fan laughed in anger. Even with Yu Yunzi present, they dared to ask so brazenly. If he were not present, they would likely have snatched it directly. Yu Yunzi frowned. "Jiang Fan, what's with this seven-colored mysterious ice?" Before understanding the situation, he could not arbitrarily take sides. If it truly was taken by Jiang Fan, that would be problematic. Jiang Fan cupped his hands and said, "I can only say that the word 'took' from their master and disciples' mouths is used too cleverly. One would truly think I took it from Xue Wanchong's hands. In reality, Xue Wanchong was poisoned and did not dare to go into the poison mist. I ventured deep into the poison mist to retrieve the seven-colored mysterious ice. Blaming one's own incompetence on those with ability and defining it as taking. Then I'd like to say that all good things in this world are claimed by the giant sect with just a glance. If they cannot take it, then no one else can. Otherwise, it is considered taking." With a rough understanding of the situation, Yu Yunzi's face showed a hint of sternness. "Sect Master Kong, do you call this taking?" Even Gu Huaxi couldn't stand it anymore and said, "This is based on one's ability." Jiang Fan obtained it through his own ability, so it belongs to him. There is nothing to dispute. Xue Wanchong, however, refused to accept it, saying, "But if it weren't for me triggering all the mechanisms, would Jiang Fan have been able to get the seven-colored mysterious ice so easily? He would have died in there long ago." He always felt that Jiang Fan had taken a huge advantage from him. Jiang Fan remained unfazed. "Do you really think there were only mechanisms in the poison mist? I fought with the seven-colored poison toad for a long time, and you didn't mention a word of it. In comparison, what danger did the mechanisms pose?" Jiang Fan, with all his secret techniques, almost got eaten by the seven-colored poison toad. "What?" Gu Huexi looked astonished. "You fought with the seven-colored poison toad?" Yunzi also showed a bit of disbelief. "Adult seven-colored poison toad at the core formation 4th level. Plus, it's extremely lethal poison. Even a core formation 5th level human martial artist may not be its match." "And you actually fought it?" Kong Yuanba snorted through his nostrils. "Who can tell what happened in the seven-colored poison mist? Staging a scene, no one can tell truth from falsehood." Gu Huexi and Yu Yunzi exchanged glances. It wasn't that they thought Jiang Fan was lying, but the story sounded truly incredible. Even the prodigies in the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion might not be able to confront the seven-colored poison toad directly. Not to mention a disciple of the Green Cloud sect, Jiang Fan looked indifferent. "In any case, the seven-colored mysterious ice is in my hands. If your giant sect wants it, you can have half. But I want the Void Lotus in Sect Master Kong's possession." "What?" Kong Wushwang flatly refused. "That's impossible. At most 10,000 crystals. Don't even think about the Void Lotus." It was a treasure he used to temper his physique, the only one in the 9-sect land. How could he give it to Jiang Fan? Jiang Fan was not surprised by this. If getting the Void Lotus was so straightforward, he would have suspected that Kong Yuanba had tampered with it. "I don't lack crystals, the deal is off," Jiang Fan said decisively. Besides Kong Yuanba, there was another place where the Void Lotus might be found. That was the treasure vault of the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. With the collection of the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion, it had what the 9 sects had, and what they didn't have. Now the month-long period was over. It was soon time to exchange for the treasure vault resources. He would see then if it had the Void Lotus. Xue Wanchong got anxious immediately, saying, "No. I don't need all of the seven-colored mysterious ice, but you must leave me half. This thing is crucial for enhancing my bloodline." Jiang Fan glanced at him indifferently. "What if I don't sell it? Are you going to take it by force?" Kong Yuanba's eyes narrowed. "Young man, give some face to this sect. 10,000 crystals is already a lot. You should be grateful." Jiang Fan waved his hand dismissively. "Sorry. Sect Master Kong holds no face value for me. I also don't need your favor. You may look for seven-colored mysterious ice elsewhere." It was clearly a plea, yet they presented it as if they were bestowing charity. Anyone who wanted this face could have it. Kong Yuanba coldly stared at Jiang Fan. It had been a long time since anyone spoke to him like this. The last time was when he was just a disciple. However, with Yu Yunzi backing him, he could only remember this in his heart. But he couldn't make a move, but his disciple Xue Wanchong could. "Impudent! How dare you disrespect my master?" Xue Wanchong shouted furiously. Veins bulged on his neck, muscles all over his body swelled and squeezed against each other, making a creaking noise. Yu Yunzi was about to reprimand him. After all, this person was a long-renowned disciple of the giant sect, with top-notch strength in the 9 sects. How could Jiang Fan compete with him? However, Jiang Fan's words shocked him. "Still want to fight me? Wasn't last time humiliating enough?" Jiang Fan said coldly. He originally did not want to have conflicts with the giant sect, but they were so overbearing and aggressive. Why be polite? These words, not to mention Yu Yunzi, even Gu Huexi was stunned for a moment. Kong Yuanba was even more disbelieving. "Wanchong, you fought him." "And lost." Chapter 394. Chapter 394, Blood for Blood. Chapter 394. Chapter 394, Blood for Blood. Xue Wanchong was a proud son of the 9th sect. Anyone who could surpass him could be counted on one hand. If he lost, Kong Yuanba might not object, but losing to Jiang Fan, he could not accept it. "Who lost? You just took advantage of my carelessness, that's all." Xue Wanchong, feeling insulted, glared at Jiang Fan. "If you have the guts, fight me again. Let's see who's the hero and who's the coward." Jiang Fan remained calm. Unaffected by the provocation, he replied indifferently. "Fighting you won't prove anything, nor will it distinguish a hero from a coward. It's just a waste of spiritual power. If you want your honor back, you should show some sincerity." Did he really expect Jiang Fan to fight with just a few words? What was he thinking? If Jiang Fan lost, he'd be injured. If he won, he gained nothing. There was no need for a pointless duel. Xue Wanchong was desperate to win back his honor by defeating Jiang Fan. Xue Wanchong was furious. If not for Yu Yunzi's presence, why would he care if Jiang Fan agreed? He would have already attacked, and he still wanted some leverage. Suddenly, Xue Wanchong's eyes sparkled as he sneered. You want leverage, I'll give it to you. If you win, I'll tell you where your Green Cloud sect disciples Wang Chengjian and Liu Qingxian are. Their situation right now isn't good. They urgently need help. Jiang Fan's heart trembled slightly. He rushed to the giant sect to confirm Liu Qingxian's safety. But he hadn't met anyone familiar so far. He didn't know who to ask about their whereabouts. Of course, Xue Wanchong might know nothing and could just be trying to provoke him. Can you ensure what you're saying is true? Jiang Fan asked. Xue Wanchong chuckled. He reached into his sleeve and pulled out a jade bottle. Inside was an emerald-colored pill. It was undoubtedly a revitalizing pill. I won this from Liu Qingxian. By the way, the Gale pearl she wore around her neck, I won that too and gave it to my junior brother's son. Tell me, do I know her whereabouts? Jiang Fan stared at him icily. His calm eyes gradually became deep and cold. A cold aura emanated from his eyes. When you took her things, did you injure her? Jiang Fan asked coldly, his voice so calm it was unsettling. Xue Wanchong's expression briefly showed discomfort. He quickly glanced at Yu Yunzi and Gu Huaxi, then said loudly, You heard wrong. I said I won it. Jiang Fan shook his head. Revitalizing pill, I can't be sure she'd gamble with you. But the Gale pearl you mentioned, I gave that to her. She wouldn't gamble with it. Yu Yunzi frowned. Was this true? The disciples of the Nine Sect gathered at the Giant Sect, partly to resist the beast tide and indirectly to protect the Giant Sect on the front line, right? The Giant Sect didn't fully support them and even robbed them. Gu Huaxi had heard rumors but wasn't sure. Upon hearing they even took things from Green Cloud Sect's top disciple, she couldn't help but frown. Xue Wanchong noticed the expressions of the two Vice Pavilion masters change. He secretly cursed Jiang Fan for meddling. He shouted urgently, Will you gamble or not? If you win, I'll tell you where Liu Qingxian is. Jiang Fan shook his head. Gamble, there's no need. As soon as he finished speaking, his voice turned icy, eyes gleaming with a murderous intent. Now, I just want your blood to pay for the blood. He could imagine how Liu Qingxian would desperately try to protect the Gale Pearl. How much harm did she suffer from Xue Wanchong due to her lack of strength? Thinking of this, his anger exploded like a volcano with a swoosh sound. He unleashed his movement technique. They were separated by only about 5 or 6 feet. He crossed the distance in an instant, his internal energy boiling like water. His fist struck hard towards Xue Wanchong's chest. I've been guarding against you? Xue Wanchong grinned, sneering. His body roared. Visible purple veins wrapped tightly around his skin like centipedes. His already powerful physique reached a new peak. It gave an overwhelming sense of pressure like an ancient giant. Let me show you my true physique, Xue Wanchong roared. Being effortlessly shaken by Jiang Fan was his shame. As someone with the bloodline of an ancient giant, losing in physique to an ordinary person was unforgivable. Now, he could finally wash away this shame. So from the start, he unleashed his ancient giant bloodline. Returning with his strongest blow, Get lost! Xue Wanchong's fists struck out together. The terrifying power compressed the air, making it tremble and faintly distort. This punch made Yu Yunzi's face change drastically. He raised his hand to stop it. With the blessing of the ancient giant bloodline, his physique reached the 3rd level of core formation, Yu Yunzi gasped. But it was too late to stop them now. Their fists collided fiercely in an instant. Crack, a thunderous explosion occurred without warning. Kong Yuanba and the 2 Vice Pavilion masters were caught off guard, their ears buzzing. The ensuing shockwave from the collision acted like a blade, splitting the ground beneath them and extending the crack 10 feet to either side. This scene made Kong Yuanba's pupils shrink. Jiang Fan can match my disciple in physique. When he saw Jiang Fan start with his physique, he expected a different outcome. Jiang Fan should have ended up with shattered bones or even dead on the spot. But the result was unexpected. He was able to fight Xue Wanchong to a draw. Gu Huaxi's mouth dropped in shock. How could a Green Cloud Sect disciple match Xue Wanchong in physique? Vice Pavilion Master Yu, what's with this old acquaintance of yours? Even Yu Yunzi couldn't answer. He too was extremely surprised. Even knowing Jiang Fan's exceptional talents, he hadn't realized Jiang Fan had such an astonishing mastery in physique. But this was just the beginning. Xue Wanchong's expression hardened. He thought he could send Jiang Fan flying and coughing up blood, but they were at a stalemate. Where did you learn body techniques? How can you be as strong as me? He had activated his ancient giant bloodline. He had unleashed his strongest blow, yet a nobody had matched him. He couldn't accept this. Kong Yuanba couldn't accept it either and shouted, Xue Wanchong, if you lose to a green cloud sect disciple, don't call me master anymore. I can't bear this shame. Even if Jiang Fan defeated Xue Wanchong with magic, it would be better. But defeating the top disciple of the giant sect in their strongest area, this was a slap in the face. How would the giant sect boast of being a body-refining sect in the future? Xue Wanchong tightened his breath and yelled, Get away from me! He tried to push Jiang Fan away with his feet, but Jiang Fan didn't budge. His face was cold as ice. You've used your full strength. Now it's my turn. Chapter 395. Chapter 395, No one can protect you. Chapter 395. Chapter 395, No one can protect you. Kong Yuanba's face darkened, and his expression froze. What do you mean? Jiang Fan hasn't used his full strength yet? Impossible. For an outer sect disciple to cultivate his physique to this degree was already a miracle. How could he not have used his full strength yet? Just as Yu Yunzi was about to intervene, he stopped, his eyes showing a hint of excitement. He eagerly watched the battle. Gu Huexi also began to reassess Jiang Fan, showing a great deal of interest. Xue Wanchong was stunned. A sense of danger immediately washed over him, and he tried to pull back his fists to create distance. But it was already too late. Heavenly battle, 9 forms? Only when matched with body techniques could the full power of his physique be unleashed. Mountain shattering, shattering cloud, shocking thunder, wind breaking. At first, Xue Wanchong could withstand the attacks with his physique. He could even counterattack. The further it went, though, the more powerful the moves became, and his fists began to throb with pain. The poison wounds that had just healed split open again, blood splattering everywhere. Xue Wanchong gradually found himself only able to defend, and even that was becoming increasingly difficult, until Jiang Fan unleashed the final form. Sky opening! An insanely powerful punch, far surpassing the combined force of the previous 8 moves, struck Xue Wanchong's crossed arms, shielding his chest. Crack, the sickening sound of bones breaking echoed ominously. The terrifying punch didn't lose momentum, slamming into his broken arm and forcefully pressing into his chest. Crack, 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 the rib bones in his chest broke in several places and caved inward. Unable to bear the immense force, Xue Wanchong felt his chest tighten. A large mouthful of blood spurted out with a loud noise. His 3-meter-tall body staggered and crashed to the ground. The delayed pain gradually started to surface. Only then did Xue Wanchong feel the excruciating, heart-wrenching agony, unleashing a harrowing scream from his throat. The battlefield was engulfed in dust. Just like the hearts of the onlookers roiled with turbulent waves, the second prodigy of the giant sect, the possessor of ancient giant blood lineage, utterly defeated, completely defeated even in the path of the physique. If they hadn't witnessed it with their own eyes, no one would have dared to believe this was real. Xue Wanchong's face turned red with pain, but even more painful was his pride. He gritted his teeth, glaring venomously at Jiang Fan, roaring, Just you wait, just you wait. I will kill you, I will definitely kill you. And your friends and family, your fellow disciples, I won't spare any of them. Not a single one, sigh, but even as his words lingered in the air. A strike of sword chi, filled with cold intent, landed on his arm in an instant. Blood splattered immediately. A massive arm soared into the air. Xue Wanchong stared dazedly, turning to see that half of his right arm was gone. The searing, bone-chilling pain followed quickly, forcing out agonized cries. Ah, ah! My hand, my hand! Jiang Fan gripped the Sorrow Frost sword, his eyes as cold as frost. Who told you our battle was over? I said you'd pay in blood. Heaven and earth star fall, he slashed out another terrifying sword chi, not giving Xue Wanchong a chance to react. Kong Yuanba flew into a rage. Beating his disciple in physique was already enough to make him lose face as the sect master. But to dare to commit violence in front of him, did Jiang Fan not put him, the giant sect master, in his eyes? You're courting death, Kong Yuanba roared. His thunderous roar shattered the sword chi attacking Xue Wanchong. He flickered and lunged at Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan didn't even spare him a glance, rubbing his hands together. The Sorrow Frost sword in his palm spun furiously. Go! With a word, the Sorrow Frost sword transformed into a stunning rainbow, stabbing through the air. Huh! Sword control technique? Yu Yunzi and Gu Huexi looked utterly shocked. Wasn't this the exclusive skill of Su Qingyang from the Myriad Swords sect? Kong Yuanba was also taken aback and hurriedly dodged. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Jiang Fan decisively struck. Regretful Dragon, the final move of Heavenly Ruined Finger. A brilliant, multicolored beam formed into an overwhelmingly powerful beam, shooting towards Xue Wanchong's neck. Xue Wanchong's eyelids twitched in fright. He quickly rolled to the side, narrowly avoiding the deadly finger technique that grazed his shoulder, but his shoulder got grazed, losing a chunk of flesh. Hiss! Xue Wanchong gasped in pain. Quickly scrambling to his feet, he ran towards his master. He had never imagined that one day, facing his peers, he would have to beg his master for help, and in such a pathetic manner. Kong Yuanba was furious. In the instant he dodged the sword control technique, Jiang Fan wounded his disciple again. Outrageous! Kong Yuanba shouted in anger. He leaped forward. Shielding Xue Wanchong behind him, his eyes flashed with intense killing intent. If it weren't for his fear of Yu Yunzi, he would have killed Jiang Fan 100 times, 1,000 times already. Xue Wanchong finally felt relieved. With his master there, he was safe. Feeling the intense pain in his body, he peeked out and cast a vengeful look at Jiang Fan. But what sent a chill through his heart was, Jiang Fan showed no signs of stopping. Bang! Jiang Fan slammed the wooden box he carried onto the ground, the frost in his eyes growing fiercer. Do you think with your master guarding you I can't do anything to you? Today, no one can protect you. Kong Yuanba laughed in anger. Jiang Fan dared to be relentless even with him personally guarding Xue Wanchong. You're presumptuous, Kong Yuanba shouted. I'd like to see just how you intend to harm my disciple. Clang! Jiang Fan didn't waste a word. He opened the wooden box and pulled out an ivory-white ancient zither, pressing his 5 fingers on its strings, and immediately began playing. Clang, clang, clang. The sharp notes transformed into terrifying sound waves like knives and swords, spreading out from Jiang Fan as the center, sweeping fiercely in all directions. The ground cracked, emitting wisps of blue smoke. The surrounding flower beds and trees shattered. Yu Yunzi and Gu Huexi's faces changed, utilizing spiritual power to protect themselves. Both showed expressions of amazement. Isn't this from the Heavenly Sound Sect? No, even the Heavenly Sound Sect doesn't have such powerful scores. Kong Yuanba's face changed dramatically. It felt like knives cutting into his flesh, a burning pain, but it couldn't damage his physique. However, he was unharmed. Xue Wanchong couldn't bear it. Splash, splash, in an instant, Xue Wanchong was shredded by the sound waves, blood splattering. In a brief moment, his body bore over a dozen gruesome wounds. Ah, hiss, ah! Xue Wanchong howled in pain. Kong Yuanba was shocked, trying to protect him. But the sound waves permeated everywhere, impossible to guard against. Seeing his disciple being continuously injured right before his eyes and unable to protect him, rage overcame him, his eyes bulging as he glared at Jiang Fan. You will die! Whoosh! He stepped forward with lightning speed. His powerful body, like a mountain, slammed towards Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan decisively picked up the ancient zither, employing his movement technique while continually playing the zither. Bang! Almost as soon as Jiang Fan moved, Kong Yuanba stepped down where he stood, cracking the ground beneath him, looking up. Jiang Fan had, at a speed not inferior to his own, rushed toward Xue Wanchong. This enraged Kong Yuanba. Stop right there! Chapter 396. Chapter 396 Giant Sect Master Takes Action. Chapter 396. Chapter 396 Giant Sect Master Takes Action. Here is the translated text with all your requirements implemented. HTML Jiang Fan seemed oblivious, coldly staring at Xue Wanchong, whose face was full of terror. The attack raced forward. Xue Wanchong's scalp tingled. He hurriedly opened his mouth, spat out a jade pendant, and bit down on it with force. Suddenly, a light yellow aura resembling the intricate patterns of a turtle shell enveloped him. Being a body technique cultivator, and using a protective jade pendant crafted for magic users was somewhat disgraceful. But to save his life, he couldn't care anymore. With the aura in place, Xue Wanchong finally felt a measure of safety. This was a protective magical treasure from the 5th level of core formation. No matter how strong Jiang Fan was, he couldn't break through it. He'd just wait for his master to return. Then Jiang Fan would be finished. But who could have known? Jiang Fan suddenly tossed away the ancient zither, his momentum only intensifying. At the same time, his legs became surrounded by crackling lightning, stomping viciously onto the protective light shield. Boom! 2 lightning dragons cascaded downward. In an instant, they shattered the protective barrier Xue Wanchong had felt safe behind. What? Bang! Xue Wanchong could only utter a scream. 2 feet slammed forcefully into his chest, kicking him hard onto the ground. Before he could lift his head, a foot stomped on his head, pinning his face tightly against the icy ground. What chilled him even more was that Jiang Fan raised his hand, summoning the Sorrow Frost sword embedded in the wall of the hall. In an instant, the sword flew back, landing squarely in his grasp. Then the cold edge of the blade rested against Xue Wanchong's thick neck. "I told you no one can protect you today," Jiang Fan said coldly. This scene completely stunned Yu Yunzi and Gu Huaxi. Even Kong Yuanba's personal intervention couldn't protect his own disciple. Was this truly something a new disciple, could achieve? Xue Wanchong's body trembled uncontrollably. He couldn't suppress the fear that was violently spreading within him. Even when fighting to the death against big senior brother Jin Zhongming, he never felt danger like this. But against Jiang Fan, he found himself in an utterly hopeless situation, with no way to escape, and not even his master could save him. Before Jiang Fan, he felt like nothing more than an insect, trampled at will. He was completely powerless. "Now do you still want to kill my loved ones, my comrades?" Jiang Fan pressed harder, the blade cutting into Xue Wanchong's neck. Blood immediately seeped out. Xue Wanchong was terrified, shrieking, "No, no, no. I was just joking earlier. Please have mercy, junior brother Jiang, spare me." His master couldn't save him even in person. How could he dare to provoke this terrifying Jiang Fan? If he pushed him too far, he wouldn't be left with a sword resting against his neck. He'd be left with his head severed from his body. Bullies feared the strong, a tradition deeply rooted in the giant sect. Xue Wanchong was no exception. Jiang Fan snorted heavily. "Where is Liu Qingxian?" Xue Wanchong quickly answered. "She, along with Wang Chengjian and several other outer sect disciples, went to patrol Tai Lake 5 days ago. But none of them have returned since. You could go to Tai Lake and investigate." Tai Lake. Jiang Fan's expression grew solemn. Could it be they encountered a powerful water demon? He recalled the perilous encounter with the red-scaled evil flood dragon that day. Even the great elder of the Heavenly Sound sect had lost an arm. If Liu Qingxian had encountered an exceptionally strong water demon, it indeed posed great danger. As the matter seemed to settle down, Yu Yunzi reminded him, "Jiang Fan, let him go. I've heard about the incident at Tai Lake. I didn't expect one of the missing disciples to be your friend. Quickly head to the task hall and take up a first-level mission. The mission is to investigate and rescue them." The Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion also placed great importance on this matter, because the disciples carrying out this mission were all top-tier elites of the Nine Sect land. If they met with misfortune, it would mean a devastating loss for the Nine Sect. "Understood." Jiang Fan didn't dare delay. He immediately prepared to leave. "Hold it!" Kong Yuanba shouted coldly. His eyes radiated killing intent, his entire aura suffused with suffocating oppression as his voice turned icily murderous. "You killed my disciple in front of me and you think you can just walk away." The giant sect had always bullied others. When had they ever suffered such humiliation? Jiang Fan glanced at him indifferently. "What do you plan to do?" He subtly shook his sleeves, releasing the invisible, undetectable heavenly mountain silk. Kong Yuanba sneered darkly. "Do I need to explain myself? You don't even think about leaving." At that moment, he no longer concealed his overwhelming intent to kill. He shouted, "I'll borrow your earlier words. Today, no one can protect you." Hearing this, Yu Yunzi's face turned cold. "Kong Yuanba, what do you mean?" Kong Yuanba had made up his mind. He roared furiously, "Vice Pavilion Master Yu, I've already respected you enough today. If not for your influence, he would have already died 100 times over. But he dared to rely on your protection to wreak havoc and kill my disciples. Then don't blame my sect for being ruthless and cold. We'll use his blood to warn the outer sect fools who don't know their place." Yu Yunzi chuckled. His robes fluttered, moving with an unseen wind. A terrifying aura swept forward. Gone was his usual mild temperament. He now exuded unspeakable solemnity. "It seems my seclusion has led people to forget how I earned the title of Vice Pavilion Master." Though he spoke with a smile, it carried the kind of oppressive dread that felt as though the sky itself might crumble. Even Kong Yuanba couldn't help but swallow hard. The Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion had only 4 Vice Pavilion Masters. Each of them commanded absolute power that instilled fear throughout the Nine Sect land, and each wielded terrifyingly decisive methods. Do not be misled by Yu Yunzi's refined, Taoist appearance, as though detached from worldly concerns. for in his past battles with outside invaders, he carved out mountains of corpses amid seas of blood, exterminating thousands of formidable foes. The amount of blood his hands were stained with could almost drown half of the giant sect. He was the true Usura of this age. Kong Yuanba's scalp prickled. He began to realize he might have acted impulsively. But when he thought about Jiang Fan's terrifying potential, the image of Green Cloud Sect's future came into his mind. Should this prodigy get the chance to grow, he would certainly lead Green Cloud Sect. Under his leadership, Green Cloud Sect was destined to rise as the leader of the Ninth Sect. From then on, the giant sect would be unable to make its mark. Faced with such a prodigy, if he didn't snuff him out in the cradle, it would be a dereliction of duty to his sect. Resolving his stance, his killing intent surged once more. He roared, "Vice Pavilion Master Gu, hold off Vice Pavilion Master Yu for a moment. If this works out, the giant sect will offer its sincerest gratitude." He knew he was no match for Yu Yunzi, but Gu Huaxi was, and Gu Huaxi stood firmly on the side of the giant sect. If she were to delay Yu Yunzi for just a moment, he could execute Jiang Fan and eliminate this hidden danger forever. Once Jiang Fan was dead, Yu Yunzi wouldn't possibly seek revenge for a mere young disciple by killing a sect master. At most, he'd wound him badly to vent his anger. Trading his injuries for Jiang Fan's life, how could that not be worth it? With this reasoning settled, Kong Yuanba charged toward Jiang Fan, his gaze malicious. "You little bastard, your death is at hand." However, as he stepped forward, a shadow streaked directly at him with overwhelming force. The power of it made Kong Yuanba's complexion shift. Wasn't Gu Huaxi supposed to be blocking Yu Yunzi? So how was he still free to make a move? At the critical moment, Kong Yuanba activated all his body technique power in an attempt to block this strike. But how could he possibly endure an attack from a Vice Pavilion Master? Immediately, Kong Yuanba felt his body nearly disintegrate, his organs battered and dislocated. If this had been a magic user of equal realm, they'd have perished on the spot. Yu Yunzi had gone for the kill. Puh, unable to stop it, he spit out a mouthful of blood and flew backward, crashing heavily into a wall of the sect master hall, punching a large hole through it. Struggling to rise, he croaked, "Vice Pavilion Master Gu, why didn't you block him?" Halfway through the sentence, he fell silent. Because Yu Yunzi was standing in place, not having moved at all. It was Gu Huaxi holding the dragon-coiling staff, her expression icy and her gaze fixed on him. Chapter 397. Chapter 397, Gift of Treasures, Chapter 397. Chapter 397, Gift of Treasures, without a doubt. The one who acted just now was not Yu Yunzi. It was Gu Huaxi. "Vice Pavilion Master Gu, you..." Kong Yuanba was utterly confused. Gu Huaxi had a life-and-death relationship with a supreme elder of the giant sect. In addition, she had predetermined Jin Zhongming as her disciple, intertwining her relations with the giant sect. But what was happening now? Not only did she not stop Yu Yunzi, she actually struck at Kong Yuanba. HMPH! The dragon-coiling staff in Gu Huaxi's hand struck the ground heavily, and she said coldly, "You are audacious beyond measure. A dignified sect master attacking a junior, and you want this old woman to aid in your misdeeds. What do you take me for?" Her words left Kong Yuanba speechless. But what shocked him even more was, after scolding him, Gu Huaxi turned to Jiang Fan, her anger dissipating instantly. She showed a kind look. "Don't be afraid, little one. As long as this old woman is here, no one can touch a hair on your head." Jiang Fan secretly wondered, wasn't this Gu Huaxi from the giant sect? Why would she help him? But it wasn't a bad thing after all. He discreetly put away the heavenly mountain silk and cupped his hands in thanks. "Thank you, elder, for resolving the trouble." Gu Huaxi lovingly examined him and said, "You child, don't be so distant. I have a deep connection with your master, Liu Wuchen. His disciples are naturally my disciples as well. How could I just watch you get hurt?" Yu Yunzi, standing nearby, felt more and more that something was wrong. The initial concern was one thing, he could live with that even if it stole his lines. But what was the meaning of pulling connections? He hurried forward. "Vice Pavilion Master Gu, Jiang Fan is the descendant of an old acquaintance of mine. I'll take good care of him. You don't need to worry too much about it." A declaration of sovereignty. Gu Huaxi scoffed. "So what if he's the descendant of an old acquaintance? I have a connection with his master, too." Yu Yunzi didn't bother to expose her. Her so-called connection with Liu Wuchen amounted to nothing more than seeing him once or twice and having a couple of conversations. He said sternly, Vice Pavilion Master Gu, didn't you just say yourself that you wouldn't be so uncouth as to snatch a good disciple when you see one? Gu Huaxi's expression froze, but she quickly countered. Then why did you deceive me about his average abilities? Do you dare repeat that now? Yu Yunzi felt guilty. It was true what they said, a talented person would shine wherever they went. He couldn't hide it even if he wanted to. He glanced angrily at Kong Yuanba and stepped over without a word. Kong Yuanba's eyes shrank in horror. What are you doing? Smack, Yu Yunzi's horsetail whisk slapped across his face. It instantly left his face skin split and flesh torn. You caused this mess. Originally, Jiang Fan didn't need to reveal his strength if not for Kong Yuanba and his disciples' aggressive behavior. That's what made Gu Huaxi discover Jiang Fan's extraordinary talent. He could no longer secretly recruit Jiang Fan under his wing. For the sake of contesting for Jiang Fan, Gu Huaxi was even willing to break with the giant sect. How could she easily let him go? Kong Yuanba gritted his teeth in pain. In one day, he was beaten by 2 Vice Pavilion Masters in succession. In some sense, he could be considered the first person in the Ninth Sect. He felt both pain and humiliation, glaring at Jiang Fan with hatred seeping into his bones. A trace of murderous intent flickered in his eyes. Yu Yunzi, who came from the battlefield, naturally sensed this murderous intent. His robe flared without wind, his eyes filled with coldness, and his tone became chilling. Kong Yuanba, do you think that killing Jiang Fan will result in nothing more than a beating from me? Realizing that his intentions had been seen through, Kong Yuanba's heart skipped a beat, and he hurriedly replied, No, no. Yu Yunzi grabbed him by the throat and lifted him up. This Vice Pavilion Master kills without regard for status. I've killed enemies, I've killed Supreme Elders of the Ninth Sect, but I haven't killed a Sect Master of the Ninth Sect yet. You can try to anger me. Kong Yuanba's heart trembled violently. He finally realized that he had underestimated Jiang Fan's importance to Yu Yunzi. What made him more terrified was, Gu Huaxi also said indifferently, Kong Yuanba, you'd better not do anything unnecessary. If you truly harmed Jiang Fan in consideration of my connection with your giant sect, I would leave you a whole corpse. Like Yu Yunzi, she also saw Jiang Fan's immense potential. If they took him back to the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion for training, his achievements wouldn't be lower than those of the few mythical prodigies in the pavilion. Such a rare talent, if lost to the vengeance of a petty person like Kong Yuanba, would be a great loss. Seeing that even Gu Huaxi had issued a threat, Kong Yuanba's last glimmer of hope was thoroughly extinguished. I wouldn't dare. Jiang Fan gave a grateful look to the 2 Vice Pavilion Masters. With their protection, Kong Yuanba indeed did not dare to make a move. However, he could have others do it. But what if I die from an accident? Jiang Fan asked. Yu Yunzi and Gu Huaxi instantly understood Jiang Fan's concern. Yu Yunzi clenched his 5 fingers and said coldly, If you have an accident, Sect Master Kong will be buried with you. Why? Kong Yuanba struggled and said, If someone else kills him, what does it have to do with me? Yu Yunzi snorted. Then pray that Jiang Fan lives until the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion recruits disciples. Otherwise, if something happens to him, regardless of the reason, I will be the first to kill you. This completely cut off all paths for Kong Yuanba. Ultimately, no one in the world would want Jiang Fan to die more than Kong Yuanba at this moment. Kong Yuanba felt deeply aggrieved. These Vice Pavilion Masters were utterly unreasonable. He had forgotten, however, how overbearing he was when dealing with weaker martial artists. After giving a final warning to Kong Yuanba, Yu Yunzi and Gu Huaxi accompanied Jiang Fan to the task hall and retrieved the rescue mission. Then they came to the gate of the mountain. Jiang Fan cupped his hands. Thank you, elders, for your care today. If I am fortunate enough to be favored by the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion in the future, and neither of you mind, I would certainly choose one of you as my master. Upon hearing this, Yu Yunzi and Gu Huaxi both smiled. Their efforts were not in vain. With this answer, they could temporarily rest easy. There was no need to worry about more people extending an olive branch to Jiang Fan. Yu Yunzi, who had already prepared, took out 3 ancient copper coins from his bosom. These are defensive magical treasures I used when I was young. Each one can withstand a strike from the 9th layer of core formation. Now they are of little use to me, so I give them to you. With the beast tide surging and Jiang Fan needing to frequently carry out first-level tasks, he couldn't help but consider Jiang Fan's safety. Thank you, Vice Pavilion Master Yu. Jiang Fan happily accepted. Since they had spoken plainly and the intention to take him as an apprentice was clear, he no longer needed to be overly courteous. Moreover, he was indeed in dire need of high-level defensive magical treasures now. though 3 seemed a bit excessive. In reality, 1 would suffice. Because an invincible enemy a single copper coin couldn't handle, 3 would likely be unable to either. And for opponents it could handle, 1 was more than enough. Gu Huaxi, seeing this, couldn't fall behind Yu Yunzi. She immediately rummaged through her sleeve. She found a cloak as thin as a cicada's wing, densely adorned with turtle patterns. This is a turtle breath cloak. Its name may be plain, but its utility is extraordinary. Gu Huaxi smiled, imbuing it with spiritual power, then draped it over herself. Instantly, she vanished into thin air right in front of Jiang Fan. Yes, she vanished into thin air. Chapter 398. Chapter 398. Unexpected Encounter with Yue Mingzhu. Chapter 398. Chapter 398. Unexpected Encounter with Yue Mingzhu. Old Yu Yunzi's mouth twitched. That old witch, really willing to spend a fortune. Even bringing out this treasure. Jiang Fan blinked his eyes. He looked around and even used the Qi observation technique from the medical path, trying to find Gu Huaxi, who had disappeared into thin air. But all around was empty. Not a trace of breath could be sensed. It wasn't until someone tapped him on the shoulder from behind that Jiang Fan suddenly realized. Gu Huaxi had already sneaked behind him without him noticing. This greatly shocked Jiang Fan. If wearing this cloak, one could kill invisibly and be impossible to guard against. Gu Huaxi took off the cloak, revealing her figure, and kindly said, "As you can see, this is an invisibility cloak. It can conceal scent, spiritual power fluctuations, and physical form. When faced with a powerful enemy that you cannot match, you can put this on. As long as you don't make any noise, it'll be difficult for them to find you. Of course, its drawback is that it consumes a lot of spiritual power. It's best used at crucial moments." After saying that, she stuffed it into Jiang Fan's arms. Jiang Fan was very grateful. This was definitely a good thing. He bowed continuously to the 2 vice pavilion masters. "I am deeply grateful for your generous gifts, my seniors." Old Yu Yunzi stroked his beard and smiled. "Make good use of it. Safely getting through the beast tide is the greatest gratitude." Gu Huaxi also kindly said, "Be careful, and I hope we can meet again at the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion." The 2 gave several reminders, and then left together. The intelligence about the demon emperor concubine giving nascent soul essence blood couldn't be delayed at all. They must let the pavilion master make a decision as soon as possible. Jiang Fan carefully put away the items, but he did not rush to Tai Lake recklessly. Senior sister and her party, their strength outstanding, still encountered danger, and their lives are uncertain. If I go recklessly, I might risk my own life and might even implicate my senior sister, if Liu Qingxian was not dead yet, and found out that Jiang Fan was in danger. There is no doubt she would come to his rescue. At that time, he would not only fail to save her, but also cause her harm. So he had to be well prepared. He reviewed himself. His cultivation technique, weapons, and physical state were all fine. The only thing lacking was spirit pills. He only had 4 revitalizing pills left. Going to that perilous place and not knowing whether any of the 5 were seriously injured. So more production was needed. Besides, 3-step drunk, which had excellent practical effects, could also be made more. And the market had very few spiritual pills to replenish spiritual power, so he could try to make a few bottles. After considering what he needed, he decisively headed to the giant sect market. Thanks to people from various sects gathering here. They invariably brought along rare spiritual objects from various places. This meant many mysterious heavenly materials and earthly treasures could sometimes be found at the giant sect market as well. So Jiang Fan quickly collected dragon whisker grass, 3-striped spiritual fruit, and 100-year-old mulberry wood chips, the 3 main ingredients for making revitalizing pills. Next, it was very easy to find the ingredients for 3-step drunk. Only the main ingredient for spiritual pills to replenish spiritual power, moon-viewing Ganoderma, had not been found for a long time. This item wasn't considered a particularly valuable heavenly material and earthly treasure. It was just very rare and had very niche uses, so few people used it. Hence, it was rarely sold. Just as Jiang Fan was about to give up, he suddenly noticed in a corner. There was a female disciple dressed in Supreme Sect attire setting up a stall, selling some scattered items. There were all kinds of materials, weapons, pills, and so on. Among them was a moon-white Ganoderma the size of a wash basin. Moon-viewing Ganoderma? Jiang Fan's heart raced, and he quickly stepped forward. But someone beat him to it. It was a slender woman, with a wasp-like waist that couldn't be held in a grip and delicate shoulders. She wore a light green dress, giving off a fresh and lively charm. She squatted before the stall, curiously examining the moon-viewing Ganoderma. After some inquiries, she lost interest. She stood up, ready to leave. Jiang Fan quietly breathed a sigh of relief. It was good that she didn't want it. Otherwise, it would have required more effort. But the moment the woman in the light green dress turned around, Jiang Fan was stunned. It was a face that suited both anger and joy, with naturally upturned corners of the mouth. Big gem-like eyes as if they could speak. A straight and sharply defined nose, rosy lips as alluring as cherries. 18-year-old features without makeup, confidently displaying the best state of a woman's skin. She was an exceedingly beautiful and radiant young girl, and she, Jiang Fan, knew very well. He couldn't help but exclaim, "Yue Mingzhu? Is it you?" He showed a joyful expression, quickly coming to her. There was some satisfaction of reuniting with old friends in his eyes, and also some indescribable gratitude. Back then, it was Yue Mingzhu who gave him the 9th layer of core formation defensive pendant, which allowed him to survive Leng Gu's fatal blow. He had always kept this kindness in his heart. Yue Mingzhu was somewhat dazed, almost didn't react that someone was calling her, because she had only used this name once or twice. Those who knew were very few. When she looked towards the voice, a handsome, otherworldly face with an elegant and calm demeanor came into view. She blinked. She felt as if she was dreaming for more than a month. She couldn't remember how many times she woke up from nightmares. The source of the nightmares was this hateful face. In the dream, Jiang Fan was making faces at her and said, "Catch me if you can. The dignified sect master can't catch a little disciple like me, how embarrassing. Thanks for the task, sect master, you're a good person." Every time it could wake her up in anger. Once she couldn't take it anymore and rushed out of Desire's city in the middle of the night to go to the Green Cloud sect to settle accounts with Jiang Fan. In the end, she was persuaded back by several elders with great difficulty, avoiding a disaster. Now suddenly seeing Jiang Fan, she had an illusion as if dreaming. "What's wrong with you?" Jiang Fan waved his hand in front of her face. Why did she suddenly daze off at this moment? Yue Mingzhu finally reacted. This wasn't a nightmare. She really met Jiang Fan, this hateful scoundrel. "Jiang Fan," Yue Mingzhu said through gritted teeth. The nameless flames of fury in her chest were about to erupt like a volcano, especially recalling all sorts of past events. She kindly advised Jiang Fan to join the Desire sect, but he rudely refused. He also escaped from her grasp. That was already embarrassing enough. But how dare he, after being wanted, take on tasks under her eyes? And even succeeded. That was what angered her the most. Now, with Jiang Fan sending himself to her door, she had to teach him a lesson. "Absolutely. I thought you had forgotten about me." Jiang Fan still hadn't noticed her abnormal emotion, showing a reminiscent look. "Long time no see, I missed you. How have you been recently?" He missed me. Yue Mingzhu was stunned. The fire that was about to erupt slightly calmed down a bit. But she was still very angry. Today she had to deal with this. Without fail, no one would stop her. She snorted heavily and said, "I am doing badly, very, very badly." Jiang Fan couldn't help but smile. She was still as unpredictable as ever. "Hold out your hand, I have something for you," Jiang Fan said. He wants to give me a gift." Yue Mingzhu's eyes sparkled. The anger in her heart calmed down a little more, but she still said stubbornly, "Who wants your stuff?" "I don't want it." Jiang Fan smiled. He grabbed her small hand. "How rude," Yue Mingzhu exclaimed softly and quickly pulled her hand back. But in her palm, she already had something. Chapter 399. Chapter 399. Love began unknowingly. Chapter 399. Chapter 399. Love began unknowingly. He unfolded it and took a look. It was a simple, ancient copper coin. She recognized the extraordinary value of the coin at a glance and exclaimed, "A 9th layer core formation defensive magical treasure. Why are you giving this to me?" How valuable was this item? How could he give it to her? Jiang Fan smiled and said, "Last time you gave me the jade pendant, which saved my life. I didn't expect that the parting gift from Miss Yue would be a 9th layer core formation defensive magical treasure. I was blind and didn't see the deep affection Miss Yue had for me at that time. I am truly ashamed." Feelings of grievance flooded Yue Mingzhu's heart. He knew yet still held a grudge against her. Did she not want to keep him by her side, so she asked him to stay in the Desire sect? Even though she took action personally, he refused to comply. Did he expect her to beg? Upon thinking about this, a layer of mist gradually covered her clear eyes. Why was she crying? Jiang Fan was at a loss. "Miss Yue, did I do something to offend you?" Yue Mingzhu bit her silver teeth. She wanted to scold him furiously to vent the grievances she had pent up for so many days. But seeing his worried expression, her heart softened. The anger she had stored for days suddenly dissipated. She cursed herself silently for being useless. Stamping her delicate feet, she threw the copper coin back at him. "I don't want your thing, and I won't forgive you. From now on, we will never meet again?" Jiang Fan was utterly confused. What had he done to upset her? When they parted, wasn't everything fine? Seeing her wiping away her tears and turning to leave, Jiang Fan quickly grabbed her arm and said, "Miss Yue, please wait." Yue Mingzhu angrily said, "Let go. How improper in broad daylight." Luckily, no one knew her true identity. Otherwise, if word got out that the Desire's sect master was pulling and pushing with a man on the street, she wouldn't be able to explain. "Listen to me first," Jiang Fan said. Yue Mingzhu pouted. "What else do you want to say?" She had already let Jiang Fan go, yet he still wouldn't stop bothering her. But strangely, she did not shake off Jiang Fan's hand. She stopped, her misty eyes glaring at him. Jiang Fan sincerely said, "Miss Yue has been so kind to me. If I don't repay you, I will never feel at ease. Please accept this copper coin. Besides, I am about to refine a batch of pills, and I will send you some. Please don't despise them." She was about to refuse. But she blinked her eyes all of a sudden. "Did Jiang Fan just say something strange, uncertain?" she asked. "Did I hear correctly that you said you are going to refine a batch of pills?" It was indeed refine, not buy. Jiang Fan felt a bit helpless. If not necessary, he didn't want another person to know his secret as a soul master. He immediately leaned toward her ear and whispered, "Only you should know, do not tell anyone else. There are very few who know about this." What? Jiang Fan was also a soul master? Yue Mingzhu was stunned. Any soul master had a superior status in the Nine Sect. Jiang Fan already possessed so many talents, and he also hid his identity as a soul master. She thought that after spending so much time with Jiang Fan at the bottom of the cliff, she already knew him well. Now she realized that she only knew the tip of the iceberg. If his identity as a soul master was revealed, it would definitely shake the entire Nine Sect. Such a young soul master with a bright future would surely attract many powerful factions. Fortunately, Jiang Fan remained as cautious as ever and had kept it hidden so well, but she quickly reacted. "Then why did you tell me?" Yue Mingzhu pouted. "Aren't you afraid I'll betray you?" Jiang Fan laughed. "You even gave me your treasured ninth-layer core formation defensive magical treasure. It's evident that you genuinely care for me. Why would you harm me?" Did he trust her so much? Yue Mingzhu felt sweet inside. She could not help but smile. The grievances she had been holding for so long unknowingly vanished. "HMPH, you are just a soul master apprentice, or at best, a one-star soul master, nothing impressive. I wouldn't bother telling anyone else." Of course, her words remained sharp. Jiang Fan smiled without saying a word. He then rented a secret chamber and began alchemy. Not long later, Yue Mingzhu stared blankly at a bottle of green pills in her hand. "Revitalizing pill, you refined this." The famous revitalizing pill, how could she not know it? Back when the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion held an auction at the Green Cloud Sect. It made an astonishing debut and was bought by the Myriad Swords sect at an incredible price of 200,000 per pill. Perhaps initially, some thought it was too expensive, but after witnessing the dangers of the beast tide, who would still think 200,000 wasn't worth it? Having it was equivalent to having a second life. It was just a pity that it was only sold once and never appeared on the market again. Since then, it had vanished. It couldn't be bought even with money. What Yue Mingzhu never expected was. The revitalizing pill was actually made by Jiang Fan. This was a third-grade spirit pill, one of the ancient 9 healing spirit pills. Her heart pounded. Only then did she realize that Jiang Fan was not just a small soul master. He was a master whose single stomp could shake the entire Nine-Sect land. Jiang Fan smiled mysteriously. "Didn't you already take one? What's the big deal?" Yue Mingzhu was stunned for a moment, remembering that when she fell off the cliff. She should have been smashed to pieces and died, but Jiang Fan miraculously saved her. "So the pill you gave me that day was the revitalizing pill," she suddenly understood. But then she asked in confusion, "But we were strangers and you gave such a precious pill to save someone." Jiang Fan said calmly, "Pills can be refined again. Not saving you would mean your life was truly lost, irretrievable. All right, I have to start refining other pills. Can you help me divide up the remaining revitalizing pills properly?" Watching Jiang Fan focus once again on alchemy, Yue Mingzhu stared at his face, her eyes becoming gentle. In a world of turmoil where people fought over resources, this was the norm in the martial path realm. How many like Jiang Fan were there? As she kept watching, she suddenly realized. She blushed slightly. She couldn't deny that she admired people like Jiang Fan, but as if thinking of something, her expression darkened. She touched her 18-year-old face and let out a long, low sigh. If only it had been 10 years earlier. She looked 18, but in reality she was already 30 half a day later. Jiang Fan finished refining 3 kinds of spirit pills, 100 revitalizing pills, 100 replenishing spirit pills, 100 3-step drunk pills. These were the ones left after he shared some with Yue Mingzhu. With the 3 types of spirit pills, Yue Mingzhu was overjoyed. They are all good things. Thank you. Jiang Fan smiled, not angry anymore. So do you want this copper coin or not? He took out the copper coin again. Yue Mingzhu grabbed it boldly and said, Of course I want it. Why wouldn't I want something you gave me? She found a red string, threaded it through the hole, and wore it around her white neck as a pendant. Then, happily flaunting it, Does it look nice? Jiang Fan couldn't help but laugh. It looks nice, everything looks good on a beautiful person. Yue Mingzhu gave him a sidelong glance. Without any sincerity, yet her mouth couldn't help but curve up, but soon her smile faded. Miss Yue, we will part ways here. Jiang Fan, feeling relieved, cupped his hands. I hope we meet again someday. He had repaid Yue Mingzhu's kindness. He had also prepared the spirit pills. It was time to set off for the Northern Territory. The sudden separation made Yue Mingzhu feel inexplicably uncomfortable, and she said wistfully, Are you in such a hurry to leave? Jiang Fan said, My senior sister is missing, whereabouts unknown. I must go. Yue Mingzhu understood and nodded. Then you should go. Come to Desire's sect to find me when you have time. Jiang Fan hesitated for a moment and said, I am afraid I cannot go to the Desire sect. In the future, meeting will depend on fate. Yue Mingzhu was stunned. Why can't you come? Chapter 400, Chapter 400, Human Forbidden Zone, Chapter 400, Chapter 400, Human Forbidden Zone. After a moment of deep thought, Jiang Fan finally said, Miss Yue, have you not been at the sect recently? Do you not know that your sect master has issued a warrant for my arrest? Yue Mingzhu's heart skipped a beat. She had just remembered this detail. Her face turned red involuntarily. She had been impulsive at the time, trying to keep Jiang Fan and also a bit angry. Well, could it be that you misunderstood our sect master? Yue Mingzhu stammered. She may not be as bad as you think. Not bad. To deal with him, she even used heavenly mountain silk. Jiang Fan muttered inwardly. But since Yue Mingzhu was from the Desire sect, it wasn't appropriate to criticize the Desire sect master in front of her. He could only respond perfunctorily, maybe. But in any case, I won't be able to go to the Desire sect. It won't be easy for us to meet in the future. Farewell, watching Jiang Fan's gradually receding back. Yue Mingzhu had a complex expression in her eyes. Jiang Fan wouldn't go to Desire City, and she couldn't go to the Green Cloud sect to find Jiang Fan either. Because the sect leader and the elders of the Green Cloud sect were definitely familiar with her true appearance. How could a sect master travel 1,000 miles to find a mere disciple? That wouldn't be good for Jiang Fan. Understanding this, she realized. As Jiang Fan had said, their meetings could only rely on fate. If they're unlucky, they might never meet again in this lifetime. A sense of loss of someone important welled up in her heart. As she watched Jiang Fan's figure about to disappear into the crowd, she bit her lip lightly. She took a step forward and chased after him. Wait! The Desire sect was a place to cultivate the heart. Their highest pursuit was to fulfill their desires. As the sect master, Yue Mingzhu was no exception. Does Miss Yue have anything else? Jiang Fan asked with a smile. He was used to this girl's unpredictable style. Yue Mingzhu snorted delicately. You're going to rescue some senior sister, right? Do you need help, the capable kind? Jiang Fan laughed out loud. But he refused resolutely. My senior sister and several powerful disciples went missing together, which shows the danger they encountered is not small. I might not even be able to protect myself. If we encounter danger, I might not be able to protect you. Yue Mingzhu covered her mouth and almost burst out laughing. As a sect master, does she need his protection? Rest assured, if we encounter danger, it's not certain who's rescuing whom. She suppressed her realm, revealing the aura of the second level of core formation. Jiang Fan sensed her aura and was shocked. You're at the second level of core formation. He had never expected Yue Mingzhu to possess such power. That's strange. Why have I never heard of your name? But he quickly became puzzled again. Having traveled through many sects, he had a rough understanding of the top prodigies in the 9-sect land. Anyone at the second level of core formation should be a chief of some sect, or at least at the second or third tier. Such a person should be quite renowned in the nine-sect land. It didn't make sense not to have heard of her. Yue Mingzhu secretly stuck out her tongue. Idiot, of course you haven't heard of it. Because this name is fake, she said casually. I've always been in seclusion, rarely going out. It's no wonder the outside world doesn't know about me. Jiang Fan pondered for a moment. Although it seemed a bit far-fetched, it wasn't impossible. The nine-sect land was so vast, it wasn't impossible that a sect might hide one or two exceptionally talented disciples and train them in secret. All right, if you insist on going, then be extra careful. The second level of core formation should be barely enough for self-preservation. Jiang Fan still looked a bit worried. Yue Mingzhu gave him a reproachful look, barely enough at the second level of core formation. On that day in the Desires Sect Master Hall, Jiang Fan's full force strike was only around the second level of core formation, wasn't it? Humph, just wait and see how I tame your arrogance on the way. She felt it necessary to show off a bit so that Jiang Fan wouldn't underestimate her. They rented a carriage and quickly left Giant City. Chatting as they went, they sped towards the northern border of the Giant Sect. Hey, Jiang Fan, have you really not considered joining my Desires Sect? No consideration. The Desires Sect Master actually has no ill intentions toward you. She's just fond of talent. I'll suggest she cancel the warrant when I get back. Don't be mad at her, all right? You speak highly of your sect master, always defending her. What's so good about her? She's good-looking, powerful, lively, and adorable, kind to others, loyal and righteous, passionate and resolute. Why are you looking at me like that? It's the first time I've seen someone work so hard to praise someone else. Normally, it's the narcissistic type that praises themselves like that. You, but actually these words are more fitting to describe you. Oh, I'm not that good either. The wheels of the carriage rolled on, making creaking sounds on the cobblestone road. The wind blew the curtain. Through the fluttering curtain, a charming face tinged with sweetness appeared intermittently a few days later. They arrived at the Northern Territory. This was the northernmost region of the Giant Sect. Snow covered everything. The towering mountains, dressed in white, blended with the earth. Only the undulating lines that reached the sky, set against the washed blue sky, distinguished it as a vast expanse of rolling mountains. 1,000 miles of snow, 10,000 paths without a soul. Standing on the horse's back, Yue Mingzhu looked ahead and said, "No wonder they call this the human forbidden zone of the Northern Territory. Except for the resilient demon beasts, other creatures find it hard to survive here." Jiang Fan also emerged from the carriage. Looking at the desolate, snow-covered Northern Territory, he couldn't help but feel a bit odd. People always said the Northern Territory was a human forbidden zone. He always thought it was an exaggeration. But now, just a glance made him feel an overwhelming sense of oppression. It was hard to imagine how humans could survive on a land covered only in snow. In contrast to the boundless white snow, a small bustling town with smoke curling and people chatting, like a sesame seed embedded in the vast snowfield. Yue Mingzhu pointed ahead and said, "That is our last human outpost, Sunset City. It was established by the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion as a garrison against the demon race. Now it has become a temporary war command city. A vice pavilion master is stationed there personally." Jiang Fan could feel the immense pressure that the city was bearing. In front of them was the endless beast tide, and behind them was the nine-sect land. If Sunset City fell, the nine-sect land would be in peril. He nodded and said, "Let's enter the city to prepare some supplies and then switch to riding horses." The icy snowfield ahead was no longer suitable for carriages. Even riding horses might not be very convenient. As soon as they entered Sunset City, Jiang Fan felt a strong sense of impending doom. You could see martial artists with somber faces everywhere, and many were injured. They spoke little, moving hurriedly. There was a trace of killing intent in their eyes. An invisible pressure surged forth. Jiang Fan's tone turned grave. "The front line seems to be in fierce combat." Yue Mingzhu nodded. "Naturally, the elders of each sect have been called upon and are on their way here. Even some sect masters have long been requisitioned over." Suddenly, she caught a glimpse of a figure. Immediately, she ducked back into the carriage. Jiang Fan was stunned. Who did she see? Why so flustered?